"Miss, please, can you help my wheels? They're stuck. I can't move." The tiny voice trembled like a leaf in the wind. It was the kind of plea no grown woman with a beating heart could ignore. Nora Carter paused mid-step, her boots crunching softly over the gravel service lane behind her family garage. She turned toward the small park across the street where laughter usually drifted from the swings in the shade of tall oaks. But the scene today was different. A little girl no more than 6 sat trapped in a lopsided wheelchair near the footpath. One of her wheels was wedged awkwardly against a raised tree root, the axle bent in a way no child should understand. Her face was scrunched with effort, her small arms straining. Beside her stood a woman in a gray suit, flustered, kneeling helplessly. "Anna, honey, wait, don't push too hard," the woman cried, her voice thin with panic. The child's frustration finally broke. "Miss, please, can you help my wheels?" she called out again, this time directly to Nora. And that was the hook that pulled Nora across the street. She jogged over, wiping grease from her hands onto her old denim apron. At 32, she moved with the confident stride of someone who'd spent her life around engines, tires, and things people took for granted until they broke. But when she knelt beside the little girl, her movements softened, gentle, careful. The girl looked up with eyes as dark and glassy as polished coffee beans, shining with both hope and embarrassment. Her curls were tied with a purple ribbon now drooping to one side, evidence of earlier laughter before the accident. "I'm Nora," she said quietly. "Let's take a look." The assistant stepped aside, clearly relieved. Thank you. We were just at the park." Something must have snapped when she hit that tree root. Nora studied the wheel. The problem wasn't complicated, just a loose bolt and a stubborn jam in the caster. But to a child alone in a moment like this, it must have felt like the world had stopped. "Well now, that's not too bad," Nora said with a smile. "I'll get you rolling again in just a second." Anna watched, wide-eyed, as Nora pulled a small multi-tool from her apron pocket. With a few sharp twists and a gentle tug, the wheel snapped back into alignment. Nora straightened the footplate, checked the frame, and tightened everything with practiced efficiency. Her hands moved with the ease of generations her father, her grandfather, men who had fixed everything from tractors to lawnmowers, and never once turned away a stranger in need. "There," Nora whispered. "Try now." Anna hesitated, then pushed lightly. The wheelchair glided forward, smooth, steady, effortless. Her joy was immediate and explosive. "I can move. Look," she squealed, her laughter ringing across the quiet street like a burst of summer fireworks. She spun in a little circle, then rolled forward again, her tiny sneakers brushing the footrests. The assistant placed a hand over her chest, exhaling in relief. "Oh goodness, thank you. I thought we'd have to find a repair shop," Nora chuckled. "This is just a quick fix. The frame's still bent, and that motor sounds tired. She'll need real repairs soon." But Anna wasn't listening. She rolled back toward Nora, eyes glowing, cheeks flushed with delight. "You fixed it," she cried. Then, without warning, without hesitation, without fear, she leaned forward and wrapped her arms around Nora's neck, and whispered one word that froze the world. "Mommy." If that moment touched you even half as deeply as it touched Nora, take a second to share your thoughts in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Your voice keeps these stories alive, and if you'd like more moments that stir the heart and stay with you long after the screen goes dark, make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Nora's breath caught in her throat. She felt the tiny arms tighten around her. The warmth, the trust, the attachment that came too quickly, too honestly. The assistant gasped. "Anna. Sweetheart. No. Honey. She's not." But before she could finish, a second, deeper voice cut through the air behind them. "Anna." Nora turned. A black luxury sedan had pulled up silently to the curb. The man stepping out was sharply dressed in a charcoal suit, posture straight as steel. His presence alone carried authority, quiet, heavy, unmistakably commanding. Marcus Johnson, 45, billionaire tech entrepreneur, a man whose face she had only ever seen on magazine covers and TV interviews. He moved forward quickly, panic flickering in his eyes. "Anna, are you all right?" he asked, scanning her wheelchair, then her face, then Nora. Anna squealed again, rolling toward him. "Daddy, look, she fixed it. Mommy fixed it." The assistant flinched. Nora froze. Marcus's gaze snapped to Nora sharp, assessing, protective in a way only a father could be. He raised both hands slightly as if bracing for impact, or preparing to reclaim his daughter from a stranger. "She called you what?" he asked, voice low but steady. Nora swallowed hard. It was just a slip. She was excited. Kids do that sometimes. Anna tugged on Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, she helped me. My wheels were stuck and she made them better." Marcus's expression softened, but just barely. He looked at the wheel, then at Nora again, suspicion still lingering, not unkind, but heavy with the weight of a man who'd learned to protect his child from every angle. Every whisper, every wrong intention. "Thank you," he said finally, though the words sounded cautious, guarded. "But you didn't need to intervene. You don't know us." "No," Nora agreed quietly. "But I knew she was scared. And I knew I could help." For the first time, Marcus really looked at her. The grease-stained apron, the calloused hands, the worn boots, the steady calm in her hazel eyes, and something in his rigid stance shifted just an inch. Anna beamed up at him. "Daddy, can she fix the loud wheel too? The one that makes me go crooked?" Marcus hesitated. The assistant cleared her throat gently. "Mr. Johnson, after the accident earlier, I think we do need a real repair shop." Nora looked down at the battered frame. This wasn't a simple fix. Not anymore. She lifted her gaze to Marcus. "If you bring her by the shop, I can take a proper look. It'll need work. Real work." Marcus' jaw tightened. He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. But he did look at Anna's bright face, her joy, her trust, her pure relief, and something in him tensed, then loosened. He nodded once. "We'll talk," he said quietly. Anna clapped. "Yay." Nora watched them go, father, daughter, assistant, and the faint squeak of worn bearings, feeling something stir deep within her chest. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. Something she wasn't ready to name just yet. Nora spent the rest of the afternoon pretending she could focus on work. She tried tightening the alternator on the Chevy, tried sorting the parts shelf in the back, even tried sweeping the floor, something she almost never had time for. But no matter what she did, her mind kept circling back to the little girl with the purple ribbon in her curls. Anna, the way she had laughed when the wheel rolled free, the way she had hugged Nora without hesitation, pure childish affection, the kind adults forget how to give. And of course, the word that had stunned them all. Mommy. Nora replayed the moment until it stung. She wasn't anyone's mother. Life had never taken her down that road. She had been too busy fighting to keep the shop open, too busy learning to survive without her father, too busy growing up faster than she was ready for. Children were something she admired from afar like fireworks. Beautiful, bright, but always out of reach. She shook the thought away and returned to tightening a bolt that didn't need tightening. Eli walked in from the back, biting into a slice of leftover cornbread. He watched her silently for a moment. "You're doing that thing," he said. "What thing?" she muttered. "That thing where you look like you're fixing something but your brain's stuck on something else." She glared at him. "Eat your cornbread." Eli smirked but didn't let it go. "It's about the kid, huh?" Nora tried to deny it, but her throat betrayed her. She looked scared, Eli, and she was trying so hard to make that chair move. "You helped her," he said simply. "Barely. It was a tiny fix. The thing's practically falling apart." Eli leaned against the workbench. "Then fix it more." Nora shot him a look sharp enough to slice a wire. "We don't even know them." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Is that why you ran across the street, like the pavement was on fire?" She hated when he was right. She hated even more when he knew he was right. Before she could respond, the doorbell above the garage entrance jingled softly. Nora straightened, wiping her hands instinctively on her apron. It wasn't Marcus Johnson. It was Anna. Her wheelchair rolled in slowly, the assistant pushing gently from behind. Anna's eyes scanned the garage with all the reverence of a child entering a magical cavern. She spotted Nora and lit up like a lantern. "You! Hi!" she squeaked. Nora's chest tightened. "Hey, princess. What brings you here?" Anna held up the purple ribbon in her hand, now frayed slightly at the edges. "Daddy said I can come say thank you." The assistant stepped forward quickly. "Just for a moment. Mr. Johnson had an urgent call. He'll be here soon." Nora nodded carefully, aware now that anything she said might be overheard, misinterpreted, or reported back to a man powerful enough to close or save her shop with a single sentence. Anna wheeled closer. "Miss Nora, my wheel is better today. I didn't get stuck on the tree root again." Nora smiled softly. "I'm glad. But sweetheart, the chair needs real repairs. It's not safe." Anna's smile dimmed a little. She looked down at her lap, fiddling with her ribbon. "Does it cost big money?" The question was too mature for her age. Nora knelt beside her. "It costs time, and the right tools, and somebody who cares enough to fix it right." Anna nodded. "You care." The statement hit harder than any blow. Nora opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The assistant cleared her throat, stepping in gently. "Mr. Johnson is trying to find a specialty shop. But the closest is 3 towns away, and they won't take walk-ins." Anna pouted. "But Miss Nora is right here." The assistant hesitated. Her eyes, usually sharp and poised, softened with something Nora recognized: exhaustion. Fear of making the wrong decision. Loyalty pulled in too many directions. "Nora," she said quietly, "if you're willing, Mr. Johnson may want your professional evaluation. He'll be here any minute." Nora stiffened. "I'm not sure your boss is eager to see me." The assistant winced. "He's protective. Especially since the accident." Accident. The word lingered like smoke. Before Nora could ask, a sleek black sedan pulled into the driveway, braking with silent precision. The air around them seemed to shift tense, careful, expectant. Marcus Johnson stepped out. Even dressed casually now, button-down shirt, plain slacks, he carried an air of quiet authority. A man used to being obeyed. A man who'd fought too hard for his place in the world. A man who did not like being surprised. His gaze swept the shop. The grease. The tools. The clutter. The absence of polished floors or expensive equipment. Then it landed on Nora. He approached with measured steps. Anna clapped her hands. "Daddy, Daddy, she's gonna fix it more." Marcus crouched next to his daughter, brushing a thumb gently across her cheek. "We'll see, pumpkin." Then he stood and faced Nora. "I appreciate you helping her in the park," he began. His tone was polite, professional, but not yet trusting. "But I need to know exactly what you did to the chair." Nora answered without flinching. "A minor adjustment on the caster, nothing dangerous. But the whole frame is compromised. Whoever repaired it before cut corners." Marcus's jaw flexed. "We paid an entire clinic to—" "They didn't do their job," Nora said calmly. His eyes narrowed, studying her, testing her. Then, "Can you fix it?" The question hung in the air, heavier than the smell of motor oil. Nora grabbed the back handles of the chair gently, testing its balance. "Yes. But I'll need time. Parts. And it won't be cheap." Marcus folded his arms. "Money isn't the issue." "Sir," she replied, "with all due respect, it's never about money. It's about trust." A flicker of something recognition maybe crossed his face. Before he could respond, Anna turned to him and tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, Miss Nora is nice. She fixed the wheel and she didn't even charge us." Marcus looked down at his daughter with a softness that slipped briefly through the armor he wore. Then he looked back at Nora. "I want your honest evaluation," he finally said. "Tell me everything the chair needs." Eli chimed in from behind the counter. "She's the best mechanic in the county. Dad taught her everything." Marcus glanced at him, then at Nora again. Something settled in his expression. A decision forming. "Tomorrow morning," he said. "I'll bring the chair. I want a full assessment." Nora nodded slowly. "I'll be here." Anna squealed with delight. "I knew it." Marcus lifted her into the car a few minutes later while Nora and Eli watched from the garage doors. The sedan pulled away. leaving the scent of leather and possibility hanging in the air. Eli nudged her. "Well, you're in it now?" Nora exhaled long and slow. "Yeah," she whispered. "I guess I am." But inside, buried under worry and doubt and memories of her father, something warm flickered. Something she hadn't felt in years. The next morning arrived with the kind of crisp southern sunlight that made the old Carter garage look almost dignified. Dew clung to the wild grass along the fence, and a faint breeze carried the smell of pine needles drifting in from the park, but Nora barely noticed any of it. She'd been pacing the shop since dawn, rehearsing what she would say, what she wouldn't say, and what she absolutely needed to avoid saying to a billionaire father who was protective enough to scorch the earth for his daughter. Eli leaned against the garage doorway with a mug of coffee balanced in one hand. "Relax," he muttered, watching her walk in circles. "You look like you're preparing for a court hearing." "I'm preparing for something worse," Nora shot back. "An overprotective father with unlimited resources." He seemed reasonable. "Reasonable?" Nora scoffed. "Eli," he looked at me like he was calculating how fast he could buy this entire block if he didn't like my answer. Eli shrugged. "That's fair." Nora groaned and tugged her apron string tighter around her waist. She had cleaned the workbench, arranged her tools by size, even scrubbed the grease stain beneath the hydraulic lift, a stain older than both of them. The last 20 minutes had been dedicated to making the garage presentable, as if neatness alone could win Marcus Johnson's trust. The rumble of a familiar engine rolled across the street. Not the silent luxury sedan from yesterday, but a larger, sturdier SUV. It pulled up slowly, stopping right outside the shop. The back door opened first. Anna appeared with a smile so bright it could have powered the entire town. Her purple ribbon had been retied neatly. Today's dress was yellow, cheerful, hopeful. Her wheelchair wasn't with her. Instead, it sat folded in the trunk, waiting like a wounded patient. "Miss Nora," she called, waving with both hands. Nora stepped out of the garage, her heart warming despite herself. "Good morning, sunshine." The passenger door opened next, and Marcus stepped out, but slower this time, less rigid than yesterday. He nodded once in greeting, the gesture respectful if not entirely relaxed. Eli shot Nora a look. "You've got this." Nora ignored him and approached the SUV with steady steps. "Let's take a look." Marcus helped unfasten the folded chair, passing it to Nora with care. She couldn't help noticing how gently he handled it, as if the machine itself mattered simply because it belonged to his daughter. Fathers like that, they weren't common. Not anymore. When she unfolded the chair, the truth of its condition hit her immediately. Bent frame, warped casters, a motor that looked like it had been patched together with mismatched wiring, a fracture along the lower bar that had been covered with cheap filler putty. "What in the world?" Nora muttered under her breath. Marcus watched her closely. "Is it that bad?" She didn't sugarcoat. "It's worse." Anna's smile faded. "Is it broken forever?" Nora crouched down, brushing her fingers along the fractured bar. The metal felt tired, like it had given everything it had, and then some. She looked up at the little girl's worried face. "Nothing's broken forever," she said gently. "But this needs a real rebuild." Marcus stepped closer. "What does that involve?" Nora stood, pushing her curls behind her ear. New frame support, new bearings, rewiring for the motor, a full reset on the control module. She tapped the footplate. "And this needs replacing." Whoever worked on this before didn't know what they were doing. Marcus's jaw tightened. "We paid a specialty clinic out of state." "I'm not talking about money," Nora said calmly. "I'm talking about craftsmanship." A long silence stretched between them, thick as humidity. From the garage window, the morning sun slanted across Marcus's face, softening the hard lines of stress and sleepless nights. Nora saw something new in his eyes: worry, not anger. Fear, not mistrust. A man haunted by the idea of failing his child. He cleared his throat. "Can you do it?" Nora stepped back, thinking, "Yes, but it won't be fast." Marcus nodded slowly. "How long?" "Depends on the parts," she said. "And how much of the frame I can salvage." Anna's small voice chimed in. "Will it be purple?" Nora's mouth tugged into a smile. "If that's what you want." Anna beamed. "To do this right," Nora continued, "I'll need to take the chair apart completely. Evaluate every piece. Replace what can't be fixed. Marcus crossed his arms, but the gesture lacked yesterday's defensiveness. Then do it. The assistant stepped out of the SUV and approached with a clipboard. Mr. Johnson, we haven't discussed insurance waivers. Legal. Not today, Marcus cut in, voice firm. She's helping my daughter. The assistant clamped her lips shut. Nora exhaled slowly. Before I say yes, Mr. Johnson, I need you to understand something. This isn't a cosmetic job. It's not just a wheel alignment or a quick patch. I'm putting my name on this, my reputation, my shop, and the legacy my father built. If I do this, I do it completely, not halfway. Marcus studied her, really studied her. I respect that. Nora hesitated. There was one more truth she needed to speak aloud, the one that had been sitting heavy in her chest since last night. And if something goes wrong, anything at all, you have every right to be upset. But you don't get to accuse me of cutting corners. I won't touch this chair unless you understand that I'll treat your daughter's safety like it's my own family. Marcus didn't respond immediately. Instead, he crouched down beside Anna, resting a hand on her shoulder. She reached up and held his fingers the way children do when the world scares them. When he looked up again, some of the hardness in his eyes had melted. Nora, you have my word. Do what you need to do. Anna clapped once. Yay, Miss Nora's gonna fix my chair. Eli wheeled a small portable cart over. We can take it inside and get started. Marcus helped Nora lift the chair onto the cart. It wasn't heavy, just awkward, weakened from years of strain. But something about the act felt bigger than just moving metal. It felt like carrying responsibility. As they rolled it into the garage, Anna reached out and grabbed Nora's hand briefly. Miss Nora, she whispered. Yeah, sweetheart? I think Daddy trusts you now. Nora let out a soft breath. I hope so. No, Anna said with certainty. I know so. Nora felt something warm uncurl in her chest, a tiny fragile thread of belonging she hadn't expected. She squeezed Anna's hand gently before letting go. Marcus watched the moment quietly, unreadable. When the chair disappeared into the garage shadow, the air felt thick with promise and danger. Repairing the wheelchair would take time, effort, and more courage than Nora had admitted even to herself. But for the first time since her father passed, she felt like she wasn't just fixing a machine. She was stepping into something bigger, something that mattered. By late afternoon, the garage smelled like hot metal, machine oil, and quiet determination. The kind of smell Nora had grown up with, the scent of home, of work, of purpose. Yet today, something heavier clung to the air. Responsibility. The kind she could feel, sitting across her shoulders as she wheeled Anna's folded chair into the center of the shop. Sunlight angled through the front windows, catching dust in golden streaks. Eli dragged over a rolling stool and set it beside the workbench. You okay? He asked as Nora laid out her tools. Yeah, she said, but the word lacked weight. Or, I'm pretending to be. He gave her a look that said he wasn't buying it, then left her alone to begin. Nora knelt in front of the wheelchair frame and exhaled slowly. She pressed her palms against the cool metal. All right, old friend, she whispered like her father used to when he worked on engines. Let's see where you're hurting. She began to dismantle it piece by piece. The sight beneath its shell made her jaw clench. Someone had welded a support bar unevenly. A major bolt had been replaced with a hardware store substitute. Something not meant for medical-grade equipment. Wires in the motor casing were twisted together without solder, held in place by electrical tape that was already peeling. This wasn't just sloppy, it was dangerous. Nora felt anger flicker in her chest, a bright, protective flame. How many times had Anna struggled because someone didn't care enough to do their job? How many nights had that poor girl cried because her body betrayed her and her chair failed her? Nora set the frame aside and stood abruptly, pacing once across the garage before calming herself. She grabbed her notebook and began sketching replacement parts, measurements, reinforcement angles. Her handwriting was quick, sharp, and sure. This was the part of herself she trusted most, her craft, the one thing in her life she knew she could control. The bell above the door jingled. She turned. Marcus Johnson stepped inside. He wasn't wearing a suit this time. Instead, he wore a simple navy t-shirt and dark jeans, but his presence still filled the room. He held a paper cup from the diner across the street. His gaze swept the garage, then landed on the dismantled wheelchair parts scattered across the floor. "I thought I'd stop by," he said quietly. "Just to check in." Nora straightened. "I'm still assessing the damage. I can see that." Marcus's eyes traced the bent metal, the frayed wiring. "I didn't realize it was this bad." Nora didn't sugarcoat the truth. "Mr. Johnson, this chair shouldn't have been used. Not like this. It's a miracle she hasn't been injured." Marcus inhaled through his nose, slow and controlled. "They told us it was fixed. That it was safe." "They lied," Nora said simply. Marcus looked away, jaw tightening. She could tell he was battling the same feeling she'd had earlier, anger. Yes, but beneath it something deeper. Guilt. Parents carried guilt like shadows. "She's been struggling," he murmured, almost to himself. "I thought it was just the injury. I didn't think the chair was failing her." Nora's tone softened. "She's a tough little girl. Tougher than most grown people." Marcus's shoulders loosened slightly at that. "She is, and she'll be fine once this thing is rebuilt." He nodded once. "Tell me what you need." Nora opened her notebook. New bearings, new bolts, a custom support bar. "The motor will take the most work, and the controller—" "I'll get it," he interrupted. "Whatever you need, order it." "I can't use cheap parts," she warned. "I'm not asking you to." Their eyes met for a second. There was no hostility now. No protective suspicion. Just two people standing on the same side of the problem. Marcus glanced around the shop again at the worn counters, the aged lift, the faded sign on the wall that read Carter Auto. "This is a family business? 3 generations," Nora said. "My grandfather started it. My dad kept it going." She gestured around the room. "Now it's just me and Eli." Marcus nodded slowly, expression unreadable. He'd be proud. Any father would. Nora wasn't prepared for the warmth that spread through her chest at those words. She cleared her throat quickly. "I'll need a day or two to fully strip the frame. After that, I'll know exactly what I'm up against." "I trust your judgment," he said. The word surprised her. "You do," he shrugged lightly. "You were honest with me yesterday, brutally honest." A faint smile ghosted the corner of his mouth. "Not many people talk to me that way. I talk to everyone that way. That's why I trust you." Nora looked away, unable to hide the flicker of color rising to her cheeks. The silence stretched comfortably for a moment, until the front door opened again. This time, it was Anna propelled in by the assistant, who held her small backup travel chair. Anna's entire face lit up when she saw Nora. "Miss Nora, Daddy said I could come see." Nora crouched down so they were eye level. "Hey, sweetheart." Anna scanned the floor. "Where's my chair?" Nora pointed at the scattered parts. "Right here, taking a nap." Anna gasped dramatically. "It exploded." Nora laughed. "Not exploded. Just taking a break so I can fix it right." Anna grinned and held out her hand. In her palm was a tiny plastic charm shaped like a purple star. "I brought you this. For good luck." Nora stared at it for a long beat before accepting it gently. The charm was cheap, scratched, and priceless. "Thank you, Anna," she murmured. Marcus cleared his throat softly. "All right, kiddo. We can't stay long. Miss Nora's busy." "Okay," Anna said, but then she leaned forward and whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Make it fast." Nora smiled. "I'll do my best." When they left, the garage felt warmer, brighter, more alive. Eli emerged from the back with a grin. "So, you trust him now, too?" Nora rolled her eyes. "Get the acetylene torch." Eli saluted. "Yes, ma'am." As he walked away, Nora held the purple star in her hand and stared at the gutted frame of the wheelchair. "This matters," she whispered to herself, "more than anything I've done in years." She picked up her wrench, and the real work began. The torch hissed to life, its blue flame flickering like a living heartbeat in Nora's hand. The soft roar filled the garage, blending with the hum of the old ceiling fan and the clinking of Eli sorting bolts at the back table. Outside, the cicadas had begun their evening chorus, a steady rhythm rising from the pines behind the shop. Nora leaned over the stripped-down frame of Anna's wheelchair, goggles tightened, gloves snug. The fractured support bar lay exposed an ugly, jagged seam, telling a story of rushed work and careless hands. She inhaled deeply, felt the heaviness in her chest, then positioned the flame. Metal glowed beneath the heat, softening, surrendering. She guided the torch carefully, her movements deliberate and slow, the way her father had taught her when she was barely tall enough to reach his workbench. "You control the fire," he used to say. "Never let the fire control you." Those words held new weight tonight. Eli watched from a few feet away. "Your welding like that bar insulted you personally." "It did," Nora muttered through her mask. "This whole chair did. Or at least the person who worked on it." She focused harder, steadying her hand, letting the metal fuse into a clean, solid seam. The work was meticulous, almost surgical. Each pass of the torch burned away her frustration, her fear, her doubts about taking on something this big. She straightened only when she felt the weld settle into place. Pulling off her goggles, she wiped her forehead with the back of her arm. Eli whistled softly. "Looks good." "It'll hold," Nora replied. "A kid's weight, a kid's life, that's what matters." Eli picked up the old, mismatched bolt he'd removed earlier and examined it with disgust. Who puts a cheap grade bolt into a mobility device for a child? "Someone who shouldn't be allowed near tools," Nora said. "And someone who probably got paid more than we ever will," Eli added bitterly. Nora didn't deny it. The world wasn't fair. It never had been. Her father used to say that fairness wasn't a guarantee, it was a responsibility. You make things fair in the ways you can. She tightened the newly welded bar and rotated the frame, checking every angle under the yellow shop light. Though the garage was worn, the light caught the metal with a clarity she trusted. She traced the smooth line of the weld with her gloved thumb. "Good," she whispered. "Better than good." The shop door opened suddenly, letting a gust of warm air swirl through the room. Nora turned, expecting Marcus or perhaps the assistant. Instead, it was Mrs. Latham, an older woman from down the street, known for her lemon pies and for knowing everyone's business long before they knew it themselves. Her gray hair was pinned neatly, and she held a grocery bag in both hands. "Evening, sweetheart," she called, stepping inside. "Heard some commotion today. Saw that fancy black car of yours had company." Nora lifted her goggles fully. "It wasn't mine." Mrs. Latham grinned. "Didn't think so. Too shiny. Too quiet." "So who was he?" "Just a customer." The old woman hummed knowingly. "A customer wearing a $1,000 watch." Nora shot her a look. "Mrs. Latham, don't worry, honey," she interrupted. "I didn't come to pry. I brought supper." She lifted the bag slightly. "Cornbread, beans, and a little peach cobbler I made this morning." Eli lit up immediately. "Bless you, Miss Latham. I'll pretend you didn't say that only because you're hungry," she teased. Nora removed her gloves, touched by the gesture. "Thank you. Who puts a cheap grade bolt into a mobility device for a child?" "Someone who shouldn't be allowed near tools," Nora said. "And someone who probably got paid more than we ever will," Eli added bitterly. Nora didn't deny it. The world wasn't fair. It never had been. Her father used to say that fairness wasn't a guarantee, it was a responsibility. You make things fair in the ways you can, but you didn't have to. "Yes, I did," Mrs. Latham said firmly. "Saw that worried line on your forehead when you came out of the hardware store earlier. Reckoned you could use a hot meal." Nora paused, thrown. She hadn't even realized her stress was visible. "That little girl," Mrs. Latham continued gently. "The one in the chair, she yours?" Nora stiffened. "No." "Well," the older woman said softly. "You looked at her like she could have been." Latham patted Nora's arm. "You do good work. Always have. Your daddy'd be proud." Nora swallowed the lump in her throat. "I hope so." When the older woman left, Eli unpacked the food, humming as he set out plates. "See? Community loves us." "Some people," Nora said with a sigh. "Enough people," Eli insisted. They sat on overturned milk crates, eating warm cornbread and beans straight from the pot. It felt good, simple, grounding. A reminder that not everything in the world was heavy or complicated. After dinner, Nora returned to the wheelchair, brushing crumbs from her apron. She checked the bearings next, rolling each between her fingers. 2 clicked. 1 stuck. The last one screamed when she spun it. "All of these have to go," she said. "I figured," Eli replied. "I found replacements in Dad's old stash. Not perfect, but close." Nora inspected the replacements, smiling faintly. "These will work." As she installed new bearings, one by one, the sky outside darkened. The streetlights flickered on, bathing the shop in a warm amber glow. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked twice, then settled. When the frame was finally stable, reinforced, and balanced, Nora stepped back and crossed her arms, exhaustion and pride mixing in equal measure. "It's starting to look like a chair again," Eli said. "No," Nora replied quietly. "It's starting to look like her chair." There was a difference, a big one. Something in her chest tightened, protective, warm, frightening. Eli noticed. "Don't get too attached." "You're too late," she murmured. They worked a little longer, adjusting angles, planning wiring, mapping the motor rebuild. But when the clock neared 10, Nora finally set down her tools. "That's enough for tonight," she said. "I need a clear head for the motor housing tomorrow." Eli nodded, stretching his arms overhead. "You think he'll come by again?" "Maybe," Nora answered. "But it doesn't matter, I'm doing this right." She turned off the torch, hung the apron, and ran her fingers across the new support bar. It gleamed faintly, solid and strong. Outside, the evening wind rustled the trees. Inside, for the first time in a long time, Nora felt steady. As if something in her life, something that had been off balance for years, had found its first moment of alignment. Morning came quietly, the way small-town mornings often do, soft light slipping through blinds, the hum of an early bus, the distant clatter of someone dragging a garbage bin down the street. Nora stepped into the garage, still half asleep, a mug of black coffee warming her hands. She opened the doors wide, letting in the cool air. The smell of cut grass drifted from the park, mixing with the scent of motor oil. Familiar, comforting, and today, strangely energizing. The wheelchair waited in the center of the shop, stripped down to its bare bones but no longer broken-looking. The reinforced bar gleamed like a promise she meant to keep. Eli wandered in not long after, hair sticking up like he'd just fought a pillow and lost. "Coffee," he grumbled. "Get your own," Nora said, nudging him with her elbow. "You're heartless." "Hydrate," she countered. He rolled his eyes and grabbed a mug anyway. They worked in companionable silence for the first hour. Nora disassembled the motor housing while Eli sorted through wires and connectors their father had stored years ago. Some were new, others were neatly wound bundles labeled in her father's handwriting, clean cursive that made her chest tighten every time she saw it. Eli held one of the labeled bags carefully. "He kept everything. He believed every piece had a purpose," Nora murmured. "Seems like you inherited that." She didn't answer. Instead, she focused on the motor, its wiring brittle, its bearings stiff, its circuits worn. She'd seen engines in better shape after being pulled out of sunken boats. But this wasn't a boat motor. It wasn't even a car part. It was the heart of something a child needed every single day. It deserved better. Nora set to work with quiet intensity, her movements precise. She remembered Anna's small hands gripping the armrest, her tiny voice saying, "Will it be purple?" The memory warmed her chest. Halfway through inspecting the motor coil, the doorbell chimed. Nora and Eli exchanged a glance. It was too early for regular customers, too quiet for delivery trucks, and too soon for Marcus. But it wasn't Marcus. It was him, the man from the other repair shop across the street, holding a cup of coffee and wearing that same smirk he always wore when business was slow for him but slower for Nora. "Morning," he drawled. "Saw the billionaire in town yesterday. Figured he was lost." "Huh." Eli bristled. Nora didn't. "What do you want, Carl?" she asked, keeping her voice level. "Just checking in." His eyes flicked over the dismantled wheelchair parts. "Looks like you're working on something expensive." "Something important," she corrected. Carl scoffed. "You don't know what you're getting into, Carter. Folks like that, they'll turn on you the second something goes wrong." Nora met his stare. "So will a loose bolt." I trust my work more than I trust gossip. Ugh. Carl leaned forward, lowering his voice. People talk. They're saying you're trying to get noticed. Trying to land contracts. I'm trying to fix a child's wheelchair, Nora cut in sharply. That's all. Carl held up his hands in surrender. Suit yourself. When this whole thing blows up, don't say I didn't warn you. He sauntered out, leaving a bitter silence in his wake. Eli muttered, He's a jerk. He's scared, Nora replied. Scared he'll lose business. Scared someone might actually expect him to have a conscience. She shook off the irritation and returned to the motor, but Carl's words scratched at her mind. She'd taken risks before, none that involved a billionaire father who dedicated his life to protecting his daughter from harm. One misstep, and the whole town could turn against her. But then she saw it again, the purple star charm Anna had given her, and her spine straightened. Fear wasn't a reason to stop when a child needed help. By mid-morning, the wheelchair was ready for its first major test. Nora rigged up the temporary power source and connected the new wiring she had soldered. Then she touched the switch with the caution of someone handling a sleeping animal. The motor hummed. Smooth, strong, steady. For the first time since she'd started, Nora smiled. Not a small smile, a real one, full and warm. It's working, Eli said proudly. Yeah, Nora whispered. It is. Zari. Just then, headlights swept across the shop entrance. Nora froze. Eli turned. The familiar black SUV pulled into place. Anna was the first out again, this time rolling herself forward in her backup chair. Her face lit up the second she saw Nora. Hey, Miss Nora. Morning, sweetheart. Marcus stepped out next, tall, composed, but not nearly as tense as yesterday. He carried a small paper bag from the diner. Got you something, he said. Nora blinked. What? It's called breakfast, he replied, holding the bag out. Thought you might forget to eat. She hesitated, caught off guard by the kindness. Then she accepted the bag. Thank you. It's just a biscuit, he said casually, but something in his eyes softened. Anna wheeled herself closer, her curls bouncing. Is it fixed yet? Is it purple yet? Does it go fast? Nora laughed. One question at a time. I want to see, Anna demanded cheerfully. Nora looked to Marcus for permission. He nodded. They gathered around the makeshift testing setup, and Nora knelt beside the half-assembled chair. She flicked on the switch. The motor whirred to life again, smooth, quiet, powerful. Anna gasped. It sounds like magic. Marcus raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. You did that? It's not done, Nora said, trying to downplay the warmth rising up her neck. But it's a start. Anna clapped her hands repeatedly, practically vibrating from excitement. Daddy, Daddy, she made it better. Marcus looked at Nora with something approaching admiration. Looks like you were right about doing things the right way. It's how I was raised. Yes, he said quietly. I can tell. The moment stretched longer than she expected, comfortable, strangely familiar, until Anna broke it by rolling into Nora's side, giggling. Miss Nora, you're the best fixer ever, Eli whispered from behind them. Careful, sis. She's replacing you with a 6-year-old. Nora shot him a look that promised retribution. Marcus stepped forward. Nora, if there's anything you need, anything, tell me. She shook her head. I'll manage. He gave her an expression somewhere between respect and frustration. You don't have to do everything alone. Her breath caught. The words hit far too close to places she'd avoided for years. Anna looked between them innocently. Daddy, she can be our friend, right? Marcus hesitated. Nora's heart thudded. Then he nodded. Yes, honey, she can. Anna squealed again. And for the first time since her father died, Nora felt like her world had opened, not in danger, but in possibility. The next 2 days settled into a rhythm, steady, demanding, strangely comforting. Nora found herself waking before the alarm, stepping into the garage with something she hadn't felt in years. Anticipation, the kind that tugged at her ribs like a quiet song, pulling her forward. Anna's wheelchair sat in the center of the shop on a raised platform, its new parts gleaming, its old scars vanishing under Nora's careful craftsmanship. The reinforced frame, the upgraded bearings, The new wiring, everything was falling into place. But today was the hardest part. Painting. Anna had asked for purple, not just any purple, but one that matched the ribbon she always wore. Nora had spent half an hour at the hardware store comparing shades, trying to match the little charm Anna had given her, deep violet, with a whisper of blue. A color that felt brave and soft at the same time. She's gonna love it, Eli said as he stirred the paint with a wooden stick. She better, Nora muttered, though her voice carried a smile. I don't want to repaint this thing twice. You're acting like you're restoring a race car. Nora shot him a look. To her, this is a race car. Ugh. Eli grinned, conceding the point. Nora set the frame on the hanging rig her father once built for custom motorcycle jobs. The metal swung gently, catching afternoon sun that filtered through the dusty windows. She dipped the spray gun into the fresh paint and tested the nozzle. The first mist of purple drifted through the air, and for a moment, the garage felt different, lighter, softer, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. You ever think Dad would have imagined you doing something like this? Eli asked quietly. No, Nora said, but he would have loved it. She coated the frame slowly, evenly, with smooth passes of purple. Each stroke felt like sealing a promise, not just to Anna, but to herself. By the time the final layer dried, the wheelchair shimmered like a jewel, vibrant, hopeful. Eli whistled. Looks expensive. Feels expensive, Nora said, hands on hips. Feels right. She barely had time to admire the work before the bell over the door jingled again. She knew that sound too well by now. Knew who it meant. Anna burst inside like a ray of sunlight on wheels, her backup chair bouncing slightly with each push. The assistant followed, smiling politely. A moment later, Marcus stepped in, his presence grounding the room in quiet authority. Hi, Miss Nora, Anna called, zipping forward before anyone could stop her. Nora grinnet. Hey, sweetheart. Anna skidded to a stop, her eyes going wide at the sight of the suspended frame. It's purple. Purple as a sunset over the bay, Nora said. Anna gasped. It's beautiful. Marcus stepped closer, studying the paint job. You did this yourself? I do all my own work, Nora replied. It looks professional. It is professional. He nodded once. Fair enough. Anna was practically vibrating now. Can I touch it? Not yet, Nora said gently. But you can come closer. There. Anna wheeled up until she was just a foot away. She stared at the frame like it was something precious. It looks happy, she whispered. Nora blinked, caught off guard. Happy? Yes, Anna insisted. It looks like it wants to go fast. Nora swallowed a sudden lump in her throat. Then I'd better make sure it can. The assistant, Miss Renee, smiled. She hasn't stopped talking about you all morning. Hasn't stopped talking about the chair, Marcus corrected gently, but Anna shook her head. No, Daddy. I talked about Miss Nora. Nora laughed softly, brushing her hands on her apron. So what brings you by today? We were in the area, Marcus said. Thought we'd check on progress. And I brought you something, Anna added quickly. She dug into a little backpack decorated with cartoon stars and pulled out a folded paper. She handed it to Nora with both hands. Nora opened it. A crayon drawing. A purple wheelchair with sparkles around it. A tall woman with brown hair pulled back under a bandana. A small girl holding her hand. Above them, to Miss Nora, who makes broken things brave again. Nora's breath caught. Anna, this is beautiful. It's us, Anna said proudly, because you helped me go straight, and fast, and not into the grass. Marcus chuckled, quiet, warm. A sound Nora had not yet heard from him. She worked on that all morning. I wanted you to have it, Anna said, because you're fixing my wheels, and because you're nice. Nora folded the drawing carefully, reverently. Thank you. I'll keep it somewhere special. Marcus watched her closely. She felt the weight of his gaze but didn't look away. Something in the air between them shifted, not romantic, not dramatic, but human. Understanding. Respect. Anna rolled closer and whispered, Is it almost done? Getting close, Nora said. Tomorrow, I'll work on the motor mount and the control switches. Anna nodded with great seriousness. Okay, I'll be brave. You already are. Marcus cleared his throat. Do you need anything? Tools? Parts, delivery. Nora shook her head. Just time. He hesitated. Time I can give. Eli stepped in with a smirk. She also needs someone to stop bothering her while she works. Nora swatted his arm. Don't scare off the customers. Marcus smiled, actually smiled. I'll keep that in mind. Mun. They stayed a little longer, talking softly about Anna's favorite colors, about how fast she wanted to go, about how she'd named her old wheelchair Rocket, and how Nora would have to help her choose a new name for this one. When they finally left, the garage felt brighter than it had in years. Eli leaned against the workbench. You know, they like you. What? No. They do. Shut up. I won't. Nora dropped into her chair with a groan. I'm just fixing a wheelchair. You're fixing a lot more than that, Eli said. Even I can see that. Nora rubbed her hands over her face, but she didn't deny it, because deep down, she felt it too. Something was changing. Something important. The next morning settled over the town like a warm blanket, quiet, steady, and full of possibility. Nora arrived at the garage before the sun had fully risen, the sky still tinted pink along the horizon. She unlocked the shop, flicked on the lights, and stepped inside with a sense of purpose that made her chest feel full. The purple frame hung in the center of the workspace like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. Morning, gorgeous, she murmured to it, setting her coffee cup on the bench. Let's see what else you need. She began organizing tools, laying out wiring harnesses, and inspecting the new motor mount she'd fabricated the night before. The hum of the garage radio began its usual morning chatter, soft country music, the kind her father always loved. As the first verse drifted through the air, Nora felt something shift in her chest. She wasn't just fixing a chair. She was building a little girl's freedom. Eli entered with a bag of donuts, holding them over his head like a peace offering. Breakfast for the genius. Don't start, Nora said, grabbing a donut anyway. It's not flattery if it's true. Still annoying. Eli sat on a stool, taking in the purple frame. You know, I think this is the nicest thing that's ever come out of this garage. Nora snorted. Dad rebuilt a whole pickup engine from scrap parts. Yeah, but did he paint it purple sparkles? Nora laughed despite herself. Fair point. They fell into a comfortable rhythm, Eli stripping wires, Nora soldering connections with precise, elegant movements. She replaced the motor mount, tightened the alignment screws, and inserted the new, reinforced control housing. Eli tested the joystick switch. Feels smooth, he said, clicking it lightly. Better than the last one. It'll keep her safe, Nora said. Then, her voice softened. She deserves that. Eli gave her a sideways glance. You really like that kid, huh? Nora didn't answer right away. She pressed the wires into the routing slot, securing them with ties, her fingers gentle. She's something, Nora finally said. Smart, brave, and she trusts me. That last one seems to mean a lot to you. It does, Nora swallowed. More than I expected. Eli didn't tease. He only nodded. The bell above the door jingled. Nora turned, instinctively brushing her hands on her apron. Anna rolled in, not in her backup chair this time, but pushed gently by Renee in a stroller-type chair made for temporary mobility. Anna was holding something in her lap, a small box wrapped in shiny paper. She waved the second she spotted Nora. Miss Nora, I brought you something. Nora smiled. Well, good morning, sunshine. What's this? A present, Anna announced proudly. Open it, open it. Marcus walked in behind them, dressed casually in slacks and a navy sweater. He gave Nora a polite nod. Good morning. Jubo. Morning, Nora replied, trying not to be overly aware of how his presence seemed to fill the garage all on its own. Anna thrust the box at her. Open it. Nora took the package carefully. It was light, almost too light, and covered in purple wrapping paper decorated with tiny golden stars. She unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a sticker, a decal, a small purple shooting star with a tiny trail of sparkles behind it. For the wheelchair, Anna said, bouncing in her seat, so everyone knows it's special. Nora felt her throat tighten. Sweetheart, this is perfect. Anna beamed, swinging her legs excitedly. It's the fastest sticker. Nora crouched and lifted the decal carefully. Then we'll put it on last. After everything else is perfect. Marcus smiled softly at his daughter's joy. She's been talking about that sticker since 5 this morning. Anna jabbed a finger at Nora. You have to put it where everyone can see it. On the front, maybe. Or the back. Or both. Nora laughed. We'll find the perfect spot, I promise. Marcus stepped closer to the suspended frame. You've done a lot since yesterday. It's getting there, Nora said, wiping her hands. Motor's in, wiring is new. Once I test the voltage and torque output, I can rebuild the base. And after that? Marcus asked. Wheels. Control system. Seat support. Upholstery. She paused, then added, and the sticker. Anna squealed again. Marcus took a breath, running a hand along the air near the frame, careful not to touch the fresh paint. I don't know how to thank you for this. You don't need to, Nora said. Just let her use it to play, to move, to be a kid. Kids need freedom, Marcus murmured, almost to himself. Nora saw something in his eyes, then something unguarded. A weight. A memory. She recognized it instantly. Guilt. I wasn't there when things got worse, he confessed quietly. I tried to protect her, but sometimes protection means I wasn't around enough. Nora didn't push. She never pushed. You're here now, she said softly. Marcus held her gaze. I'm trying. Anna interrupted by waving her hands in the air. Daddy, can I see the pretend fast part again? The pretend what? Nora laughed. Anna pointed at the wheelchair motor. The vrr sound. The magic sound. Nora grinned and set up the motor on the test rig. When she flipped the switch, the motor hummed a steady, soft roar like a small jet. Anna slapped her hands over her mouth. It's so fast. Even Marcus chuckled at her excitement. Eli leaned over to Nora and whispered, I swear this kid could power the whole town with her energy. No kidding, Nora whispered back. After Nora finished the demonstration, Marcus checked his watch. We should go. She has physical therapy in an hour. Anna puted, can we come back later? Nora touched her shoulder gently. Anytime you want. Anna's grin returned instantly. Marcus hesitated near the doorway. Nora, if you need to buy more materials, you don't need to wait for my approval. Send me the invoice. I trust your decisions. Nora blinked. Thank you. He nodded. We'll be back. The assistant pushed Anna's temporary chair toward the door, and Anna waved vigorously until they disappeared down the street. When the garage finally fell quiet again, Nora pressed a hand to her chest. Her heart was beating too fast, too warm, too something. Eli cleared his throat. Sue. We'll be back. I trust you. That's practically love. Nora glared at him. Shut up. Eli laughed and ducked behind a stack of tires. Just saying. Nora tried to ignore the heat rising to her cheeks. She turned back to the wheelchair, touching the smooth purple paint with the tips of her fingers. Something was happening here. Something she wasn't ready for. Something she was afraid to name. But she knew one thing for sure. She wasn't just rebuilding a chair. She was rebuilding a future. Nora didn't realize how late she'd been working until the sky outside had shifted into dusky blue, and the crickets began their long evening chorus. The garage, usually comforting in its clutter, felt strangely alive tonight, humming with purpose as she tightened the last bolt on the motor housing. The chair was beginning to resemble itself again. Not broken or defeated, but rebuilt. Strengthened, almost reborn. She stepped back, wiping sweat from her forehead. All right, sweetheart, she murmured to the chair. You're starting to look like trouble. Eli poked his head out from the storage room, a lamp clutched in his hands. You talking to it again? Shut up, Nora replied without turning. It listens. No, you listen, Eli said, to your own crazy. Nye. She flicked a tiny washer at him. He caught it, laughing. The lamp flickered as he plugged it in, illuminating the parts laid out like a metal anatomy lesson. The seat cushion, still the old one for now, sat off to the side. The new tires had been delivered earlier in the afternoon, heavy-duty rubber with better traction and smoother rotation. Nora spun one gently in her hands. These'll handle corners like a dream. Yeah, this thing's gonna outrun half the cars in town, Eli said. Maybe you should slap a racing number on the back. Don't tempt her, Nora muttered, thinking of Anna's sparkling eyes. She worked another hour, adjusting axle spacing, reinforcing the footplate support, checking the alignment with a laser level. Every tiny motion mattered. Every fraction of an inch meant safety or instability. Her father's voice whispered in her mind, steady, firm, patient. Perfect is kind, sloppy is cruel. She never understood that phrase as a kid. Now she did. Just as she was tightening the final bolt on the right wheel mount, headlights swept across the shop window. Eli raised an eyebrow. "We expecting someone?" "No," Nora said. But her stomach tightened. The bell above the door jingled. But it wasn't Marcus, and it wasn't Anna. It was Carl. He leaned against the doorframe, wearing that same smug smile, the kind that made Nora's patience fray like an old rope. His eyes scanned the almost finished chair, and his smirk widened. "Well, well," he drawled. "Look at this. Still playing charity?" Nora carefully set her wrench down. "What do you want, Carl?" "To help." The word came out oily, false. Eli scoffed. "You? Help?" Carl shrugged. "Can't a neighbor be neighborly?" Eli stepped forward, ready to swing, but Nora held up a hand. "What are you here for?" Carl walked a slow circle around the wheelchair, hands tucked into his pockets. "Big job you've taken on. Dangerous job." Nora's jaw tightened. "Go on." You screw it up," Carl said lightly. "And that billionaire won't think twice before suing you into dust." Eli snapped. "Get the hell out, Carl." But Carl didn't even look at him. "And when that happens, your little family shop? Poof. Gone." Nora stepped closer, her voice low. "If you came here to scare me—" "I came here," Carl interrupted, "to offer you a deal." Nora stiffened. "I'll take the job off your hands," he continued. "You hand over the chair. I'll call the Johnson family myself and tell them you were overwhelmed." Eli's face flushed red. "You snake." Carl ignored him, turning his smirk on Nora. "You don't have the equipment. You don't have the certifications. You're in way over your pretty little head." Nora inhaled slow, steady. He kept going. "Let someone who knows what they're doing handle it. Someone who won't embarrass the whole community." Eli lunged, but Nora grabbed his arm. "Don't." She stepped right up to Carl, voice calm, almost gentle. "You're jealous." Carl blinked. "What?" "You heard a billionaire came to my shop," Nora said, "and it scared you." Carl's smirk faltered. "You don't care about Anna," she continued. "You care about your ego." "You don't understand," Carl snapped. "If something goes wrong, then I'll fix it," Nora said firmly. "Because I know what I'm doing." Carl glared at her. "You'll regret this." "No," Nora said. "You will." "Oh." The room went still. Carl backed up slowly, eyes flicking from Nora to the chair to Eli and back. "This town picks sides," he muttered, "and they won't pick yours." Nora didn't blink. "We'll see." Carl spun on his heel and stormed out, the bell clanging sharply behind him. Eli let out a long breath. "I swear," he muttered. "One day I'm gonna—" "No," Nora said quietly. "Let him talk. He's trying to sabotage you." "I know. And you're just calm?" "I have to be," she said. "For Anna." Eli hesitated. "You're really doing this, aren't you?" Nora looked at the wheelchair, its purple shimmer, its sturdy shape, its almost complete form. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm all in." Eli nodded slowly. Dad would have been proud. Nora didn't trust herself to speak. She returned to the chair and tightened one last screw firm, confident, committed. Outside, the street had gone quiet again, but inside the garage, the air buzzed with purpose. Then her phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number, but the name was unmistakable. Marcus Johnson. The message was short. "Anna can't stop talking about you. Thank you for caring about her. See you tomorrow." Nora stared at the screen, her heart doing something strange, something warm and unsteady. Eli looked over her shoulder, grinning. "Oh yeah. You're in trouble." Nora shoved him lightly, cheeks warming. "Shut up." But she couldn't tear her eyes from the message. Something was changing, and for the first time in years, the change didn't scare her. Morning light swept across the garage floor in long golden streaks, bright enough to illuminate the dust floating through the air, soft enough to remind Nora of early childhood Saturdays spent watching her father rebuild carburetors with the patience of a saint. Today felt like that kind of morning. Steady hands, focused mind, and a strange, quiet thrill that tugged at her ribs. She stood in front of Anna's nearly finished wheelchair, the frame now shimmering in the perfect shade of purple, the wheels aligned so straight they barely whispered when spun. She ran her fingertips along the cooling metal, feeling the life returning to it. "This is it," she murmured. "Today we finish the heart." Eli arrived moments later, pushing the door open with his shoulder and juggling 2 cups of coffee. "You need this," he said, handing one to her. She sniffed the cup. "You added sugar. You need that too." She scowled, but her lips lifted. "Thanks." The quiet didn't last long. The bell above the door chimed, light but urgent, like someone excited rather than cautious. Nora didn't have to turn to know who it was. Anna barreled into the room in her temporary chair, curls bouncing wildly, ribbon askew, joy radiating from her in waves. "Miss Nora." "Morning, sunshine," Nora replied. Renee followed closely behind, looking slightly winded. She insisted we come early. "Because it's important," Anna said firmly. "Today is the day Miss Nora works on the fast part." Nora laughed. "You mean the motor?" "No," Anna corrected. "The fast part." Marcus stepped into the doorway a moment later, tie undone, jacket over his shoulder, the look of a man caught between professionalism and parenthood. "She woke up at 5, he said. There was no stopping her. Nora gave him a sympathetic smile. "I understand. She's determined." Tell me about it," Marcus replied, rubbing his temples. Anna ignored them both. She scooted closer to the platform where her purple frame hung, eyes wide with wonder. "Can I watch?" Nora crouched beside her. "You can watch every step." Anna squealed and slapped her thighs in excitement. Eli carried over the new motor assembly, shining silver with reinforced brackets Nora had fabricated herself. She'd tested every connection twice, checked every wire 3 times. Marcus approached with a low whistle. "That looks serious." "It is," Nora said. "This is what makes the chair strong. Safe. And fast." Anna leaned forward. "The fast part." Nora laughed softly. "Yes, sweetheart. The fast part." For the next hour, Nora worked with steady precision. She installed the motor mount, secured the wiring harness, and connected the new controller board. Eli followed her lead, passing tools without needing to be asked. Marcus watched closely, arms crossed, expression thoughtful. But it was Anna who captivated the room. She watched her wheelchair as if witnessing magic. Every time Nora tightened a screw or connected a wire, Anna gasped, whispered something to her ribbon, or clasped her hands like she was praying. Halfway through, she asked, "Miss Nora, can it go over bumps?" "Yes." "Can it go up hills?" "With help." Anna nodded solemnly. "Good. I need that." Nora raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Anna looked around conspiratorially. "Because I'm gonna race my cousin Caleb." "He cheats." Marcus rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Anna." "He does," she insisted. "He pushes me into the grass." Nora felt her jaw tighten. "Not anymore, he won't." Anna blinked. "Really?" "Really." Anna smiled, a slow, confident smile that made something warm pool behind Nora's sternum. When the final wires clicked into place, Nora stepped back. "All right," she said. Moment of truth. .com. Anna held her breath. Marcus did too, though he tried not to show it. Nora reached for the switch, but before she could flip it, the front door swung open and Carl walked in. Again, Nora's whole body tensed instantly. Carl took 2 steps in, eyes scanning the nearly completed chair with a flash of disbelief. "You're still doing this?" Marcus straightened, his voice cool. "Is there an issue?" Carl blinked, startled. He hadn't expected Marcus to be there. "I'm just checking on things." No," Nora said, stepping forward. "You're not." Carl bristled. "You're making a mistake, all of you." Marcus took one slow, threatening step closer. "Do you have something you want to say to me, Mr. Carl?" he said quickly. "I own the shop across the street." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "And?" Carl swallowed. "And She doesn't have the certifications for— I've seen her work, Marcus interrupted sharply. Have you? Carl opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Nora wasn't done. Leave. Carl hesitated, looking from the wheelchair to Marcus to Anna, who glared at him like a kitten guarding its food. Carl backed toward the door. If something goes wrong, he said quietly. Don't say I didn't warn you. Marcus stepped forward just enough to make Carl step out into the sunlight. If something goes wrong, I'll handle it. Now go. The door slammed shut behind him. Eli let out a long breath. Jerk. Marcus looked at Nora. You all right? She nodded once. I've dealt with worse. He studied her face for a moment, long enough for her to feel warmth rising under her skin. Then she turned quickly to the switch. Okay, she said. Let's do this. Anna leaned forward in her chair, gripping her armrests. Nora flipped the switch. The motor hummed the same smooth, steady tone as the test rig, but deeper now, stronger. The wheels turned gently, the frame vibrating with life, the whole chair coming alive with a soft, powerful rumble. Anna gasped. It sounds like a dragon. Nora laughed. A nice dragon, I hope. Yes, Anna cried. A purple fast dragon. Marcus exhaled, the tension in his shoulders melting. That sounds incredible. It is, Nora said softly. This chair is strong now, really strong. Anna clapped wildly, her joy contagious. Miss Nora, you made it magic. Nora crouched down so their eyes met. No, sweetheart. You're the magic. I'm just the mechanic. Anna shook her head. No, you're the best fixer ever. It sounds like a dragon. Nora laughed. A nice dragon, I hope. Yes, Anna cried. A purple fast dragon. Marcus exhaled, the tension in his shoulders melting. That sounds incredible. It is, Nora said softly. This chair is strong now, really strong. Anna clapped wildly, her joy contagious. Miss Nora, you made it magic. Nora crouched down so their eyes met. No, sweetheart. You're the magic. I'm just the mechanic. Anna shook her head. No, you're the best fixer ever. Excitement? Nerves? Hope? She wasn't ready to name it, only to follow it. She dressed quickly, tugged her hair into a loose ponytail, grabbed her father's old work jacket from its hook, and stepped into the cool morning air. The street was quiet, bathed in soft gray light. A dog barked somewhere down the block. Sprinklers hissed across the park lawn. Today was the day she would test the whole chair. By the time she opened the garage, Eli was already there. Crouched beside the purple frame, tightening the last screw on the footplate. You're early, Nora said. So are you, he replied. Big day. Nora nodded. The chair sat fully assembled now, gleaming under the shop light's purple frame, strengthened joints, new bearings, new motor, new controller, fresh wires running through sturdy channels. The wheels were perfectly aligned, the footplate balanced, the armrests reinforced. The only thing missing was a child. Nora paced around it, checking angles, tugging on bolts, bouncing lightly on the seat to test weight resistance. Every time she found something slightly off, she corrected it until it was perfect. You're obsessing, Eli said. That's the idea, she muttered. He smiled faintly. It's already the safest chair in the county. Possibly the world. She didn't slow down. It needs to be. Eli watched her for a moment, then leaned against the workbench. You know, Anna's not the only one who needed this. Nora froze. What's that supposed to mean? It means this job lit something up in you, something you've been missing since Dad. He trailed off but didn't need to finish. Nora's jaw tightened. Don't start. I won't, Eli said softly. Just don't pretend it's only about the chair. She opened her mouth to argue, but the bell over the door chimed and everything in her went quiet. Anna rolled in with all the subtlety of a firework. Miss Nora. Nora turned, smiling instinctively. Good morning, lightning bolt. Anna giggled. Lightning bolt is fast. That's you, Nora said. Marcus walked in behind her. Today wearing a clean white dress shirt and slacks, his hair still damp as if he'd rushed to get here before starting his day. Renee followed, holding a clipboard in Anna's backpack. Anna steered her chair toward the platform where the new wheelchair waited. Her eyes went wide, wider than before. "It's ready?" she whispered, reverent. "It's ready," Nora confirmed. Anna's joy burst like sunlight. "Daddy, Daddy, look, it's my dragon. It's my purple dragon." Marcus laughed softly, shaking his head. "Easy, sweetheart." "No," Anna insisted. "Fast, Daddy, fast." Nora kneeled next to the new wheelchair and tapped the seat. "Come on over. Time to try it out." Marcus lifted Anna gently from her backup chair. She wrapped her arms around his neck, trusting him completely, then let him lower her into the new seat. Only when the brakes settled did she look down, taking in every detail. "It's perfect," she breathed. Nora's throat tightened. She crouched to adjust the footplate height. "Try moving your feet a little." Anna moved them. The plate didn't squeak or wobble, it held. "Now your arms," Nora said, guiding her hand to the new joystick. Anna touched it with a kind of sacred seriousness. "Ready?" Nora asked. Anna nodded. Nora unlocked the rear wheels. "Okay, go ahead." Anna pushed the joystick forward, and the chair moved. Smooth, strong, effortless, a slow glide across the concrete, steady as a river current. Anna gasped. I'm moving." Nora stepped beside her. "How's it feel?" "It feels like clouds," Anna cried. "It doesn't pull. It doesn't get stuck. It feels like flying." "Ugh." Marcus exhaled sharply, a sound that carried relief, amazement, and something close to breaking. Renee pressed a hand to her chest, muttering, "Oh, thank God." Anna spun the chair in a slow circle. "Look, Daddy, I'm turning. I'm really turning." Marcus covered his mouth with one hand. "I see, baby. I see," Eli whispered to Nora. "If you don't cry." "I will." "Shut up," Nora whispered, but her voice cracked. Anna kept moving, each motion filling the garage with laughter. When she rolled back to Nora, her eyes were bright with tears. "It doesn't hurt anymore," she whispered. "When I turn, it used to hurt, but now it doesn't." Nora touched her cheek gently. "That's because it's made for you. For how you move. For how you live." Anna lunged forward and hugged her. Full body, full heart, full trust. And Nora, for the first time in years, hugged back without hesitation. Marcus stepped closer, voice low. "Nora, I don't even know how to thank you." You don't need to," Nora murmured. "I do," he insisted. "You didn't just fix a chair, you gave her freedom." Nora looked at him, and for a long moment, neither of them looked away. Something warm flickered across his expression, admiration, gratitude, maybe something more, something neither was ready to touch. Anna pulled back suddenly. "Can we go outside, please?" "I want to roll on the sidewalk." Nora nodded. "Let's go." The group stepped out into the morning sunlight. The street was quiet. The park across the road glowing green. The sky a bright, cloudless blue. Anna rolled forward and the chair glided across the pavement like it had been waiting for this moment its entire life. She laughed louder than the birds, louder than the wind. "Miss Nora, watch, I'm fast." Nora watched her, heart full, chest aching in a way she hadn't expected. Marcus stood beside her. She hasn't smiled like this since before the accident. Nora didn't take her eyes off Anna. "She deserves to smile." Marcus nodded slowly. "So do you." The words hit her like a gentle blow. When Anna returned to them breathless, glowing, unstoppable, she looked up at Nora and said, "Miss Nora, you fixed me." Nora knelt to eye level. "No, sweetheart. You were never broken. I just fixed the wheels." But inside, she felt something else entirely. Something being fixed in her too. Anna didn't want to stop rolling. Not for a sip of water. Not for a snack. Not even when Renee reminded her they still had physical therapy in the afternoon. She zipped up and down the sidewalk in front of the garage, the purple frame catching morning sunlight like smooth amethyst. People slowing their cars to look couldn't help but smile. A few waved. One older man in a red baseball cap actually clapped as Anna made a tight turn and burst into delighted laughter. Nora stood by the curb with Eli and Marcus, watching with a strange mix of pride and protectiveness swelling in her chest. The chair handled beautifully smooth, responsive, quiet. Every movement Anna made seemed to reinforce that Nora had done the right thing, the only thing she could do. Eli nudged her gently. "Look at that. You built a rocket." Nora folded her arms, trying not to show the smile tugging at her lips. "She's making the rocket look good." Marcus exhaled slowly beside them. "I don't think I've ever seen her move like that. Not since before." Nora glanced at him. "What happened?" He hesitated. His jaw clenched once. "She didn't push. She had a spinal injury," he said quietly. "Sudden, out of nowhere. One moment she was running across the yard. The next," he swallowed. "She couldn't." Nora's chest tightened. "I'm sorry." "She was so scared," Marcus whispered. "All she kept asking was why her legs didn't listen anymore. And all I could think was, I failed her." Nora shook her head. "You didn't. I wasn't there," he murmured. And every time her chair broke, she thought she did something wrong, that she wasn't strong enough. A child shouldn't think that. "No," Nora said softly. "They shouldn't." They stood in silence for a moment, watching Anna's purple wheels glint as she rolled across the pavement. Then Anna spotted them and made a beeline back, skidding to a stop so abruptly that Marcus nearly reached forward in alarm. But Anna was giggling. "Miss Nora, Mr. Eli, Daddy, watch this." She tapped the joystick and spun the chair in a tight circle before straightening out and speeding forward again. Eli whistled. "That turn radius is crazy." Nora smirked. "That's because I adjusted the—" Anna interrupted by ramming gently into Nora's legs and throwing both arms into the air. "I'm fast, Miss Nora." Nora steadied herself, laughing. "Yes, you are. I want to go to the playground now." Nora glanced at Marcus. "Is it okay?" Marcus nodded slowly. "If she stays where I can see her." Anna cheered and zipped toward the park path. Renee followed close behind, carrying the backpack and shaking her head as if she were trying not to smile too wide. As soon as Anna was out of earshot, Marcus turned back to Nora. "I owe you an apology." Nora blinked. "For what?" "For assuming the worst of you that first day." He exhaled deeply. "I thought you were just another person eager to use my daughter for attention. I'm used to that." "Too used to it." Nora softened. "I get it. You shouldn't have had to," Marcus said. "And yet, you stayed. You took on a job that everyone else refused. You put in more care than the experts I paid a fortune to. You treated her like—" He stopped. Nora's voice gentled. "Like she matters." He held her gaze. "She matters more than anything." Nora nodded, something warm welling behind her ribs. "I know. That's why I trust you now," he said quietly. "Really trust you?" The words washed over her like sunlight, unexpected, steady, warming places she didn't know had grown cold. Before she could answer, a loud bark echoed from the park. They both turned sharply. Anna had stopped her wheelchair in the middle of the path, staring at a large golden retriever that had bounded out of nowhere. The dog wasn't aggressive, just excited, tail wagging like a helicopter blade, but it startled her. She jerked backward, the chair tilting slightly as she panicked. "Anna!" Marcus shouted, already sprinting. Nora was right beside him. Anna squeaked in fear as the dog barked again, playfully, but loudly. She pulled the joystick too hard, and the chair lurched dangerously close to the edge of the sidewalk. "Anna, stop!" Marcus yelled. But it was Nora who reached her first. She placed both hands on the back handles and locked the wheels with a clean, practiced movement. The chair froze. Anna gasped. The dog backed away, still wagging its tail. Marcus skidded to a stop beside them, reaching for his daughter. "Are you okay? Are you all right?" Anna nodded shakily, tears still clinging to her lashes. It barked. "I know," Marcus said gently, kneeling beside her. "You're safe." Nora crouched to Anna's eye level. "Nothing is going to hurt you while I'm here. I promise." Anna sniffled. "Miss Nora, you saved me." Nora shook her head. "No, sweetheart. I just helped you stop." Anna reached out and took Nora's hand with her tiny fingers. "You always help me." Marcus looked between them, his expression tightening, not with fear, not with anger, but with something deeper, something almost vulnerable. He cleared his throat softly. "Nora, thank you." Anytime, she whispered. They slowly returned to the garage. Anna recovered quickly, children often do, but Marcus watched Nora with a quiet intensity she didn't fully understand. Back inside, Anna asked, "Miss Nora, can we put the sticker on now?" "The magic one?" Nora smiled. "We sure can." Anna carefully held out the purple shooting star decal. Nora peeled the backing gently, then placed it right on the front bar where it would shine brightest. Anna touched it reverently. "Perfect. Perfect. Nora echoed." Marcus watched the moment, something soft flickering in his eyes. When the time came for them to leave, Anna hugged Nora tightly. "I'll come back tomorrow, okay?" "I'll be here," Nora promised. Marcus hesitated at the door, his voice low. "Nora, if you ever need anything." She shook her head. "I've got what I need." He studied her for a long moment, long enough to make her heartbeat stumble, then nodded once. As the SUV pulled away, Eli stepped up beside her, arms crossed. "You're in deep," he said. Nora exhaled. "Yeah, and you're not scared?" She looked at the purple wheelchair, shimmering under the shop lights. "No," she whispered, "not anymore." For the first time in years, Nora woke up smiling. She tried to hide it, habit, maybe, or humility, but the truth pulsed through her like a steady heartbeat. She felt alive, really alive. Purpose had a way of doing that. So did a certain 6-year-old who'd started calling her magic. By the time Nora arrived at the garage, the morning sun warmed the pavement, and the scent of fresh-cut grass drifted from the park across the street. She unlocked the door, flipped the lights on, and let her fingers glide across the polished purple frame resting near the center of the shop. Anna's wheelchair wasn't just finished. It was waiting for its owner, waiting to change her days, waiting to give her back small pieces of childhood she'd lost too soon. Eli arrived 5 minutes later carrying a breakfast sandwich and a smug grin. "For the Queen of Wheels." "Don't start," Nora said, but she accepted the sandwich anyway. "It's a big day," Eli insisted. "You're handing the chair back. That's important." Nora nodded, her chest tightening. "Yeah, it is. You ready?" "Absolutely not." Eli laughed, then softened. "You did good, Nora." The bell over the door chimed before she could answer. She knew that sound. She knew the soft rolling sound of Anna's temporary chair, the quiet footsteps of Renee, the confident but contained stride of Marcus Johnson. She knew all of it already too well. Anna rolled in with a bouquet of dandelions in her lap. "Miss Nora." Nora crouched immediately. "Morning, lightning bolt. These are for you." Anna thrust the scraggly bouquet forward. "They're sunshine flowers." Nora accepted them like they were gold. "Thank you, sweetheart." They're not from a store," Anna added proudly. "I picked them all by myself." Renee smiled apologetically. She saw a patch of them near the park entrance and refused to leave without collecting every single one. "They're perfect," Nora whispered. Marcus approached next, dressed in a crisp dark blue suit today. He looked ready for a high-stakes meeting, except for the softness in his eyes as he watched his daughter beam. "You're up early," Nora said. She insisted. Marcus replied, "Didn't even want breakfast." "I want fast breakfast," Anna corrected. "Fast like my chair." Nora chuckled. "Well, you're in luck, because your chair is ready." Anna's breath caught. "Ready?" "Ready," Nora confirmed. Eli rolled the purple wheelchair forward into the sunlight, the paint streaking gold where the morning rays touched it. The shooting star decal gleamed on the front bar like a badge of courage. Anna placed both palms over her mouth. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's even more purple today." "That's the sunlight, sweetheart," Nora said. "Go on. Let's get you into it." Marcus lifted Anna with practiced gentleness, lowering her into the new seat. He fastened her belt securely, brushing one stray curl from her face before stepping back. Anna settled quietly at first, her hands exploring the armrests, the joystick, the smooth paint under her fingertips. "It feels different," she whispered. "Good different?" Nora asked softly. "Annanotetsolem." "Good like waking up from a bad dream." Marcus's breath stuttered. Renee looked away, quickly wiping the corner of her eye. Nora cleared her throat and knelt beside the chair. "Okay, sweetheart. Try moving forward." Anna curled her fingers around the joystick and gently pushed. The chair glided. Smooth, controlled, confident. Anna's face lit up. It listens to me. Nora's heart squeezed. It's meant to. Well. Marcus watched closely, his hands hovering like he wanted to steady her but didn't need to anymore. Anna rolled forward, then backward, then did a careful turn. She was cautious at first, measured movements, testing, learning the responsiveness. Then she went a little faster, then faster still. The chair held beautifully, the whole garage filled with her shrieks of delight. Daddy, Miss Nora, look, I'm going straight. I'm not going into the grass. Ugh. Marcus laughed a sound so full and unguarded that Nora couldn't help smiling with him. I see that, sweetheart. And it doesn't hurt. Anna added breathlessly. My arms don't hurt. Renee clutched her chest. Bless this woman. Nora swallowed. Just doing my job. Not like this, Marcus said quietly, eyes fixed on her. Before she could respond, Anna suddenly rolled right back to Nora and stopped inches from her, eyes shining. Miss Nora, she whispered. Thank you for giving me my legs back. Nora's breath caught. Her lips parted. She felt something inside her, something she hadn't let herself feel in a long time, fracture and heal in the same second. Anna, Nora whispered, voice shaking. It's my honor. Anna hugged her, arms tight, tiny hands gripping her shoulders, and Nora held her back, careful not to squeeze too hard. Marcus looked away as if giving them privacy, but the emotion in his jawline betrayed him. When Anna finally let go, she grinned. Can we go outside again? I want the sunshine to hit the purple. You absolutely can, Nora said. They went out together. Anna sped across the walkway, the chair gliding over cracks and bumps with playful ease. The wheels shimmered. The shooting star decal caught the light as though it were truly falling across the sky. Cars slowed. People stared. Not in pity, but in awe. In joy. A few neighbors cheered. One elderly man tipped his hat. A group of teenagers paused their basketball game to watch, smiles spreading across their faces. The whole street came alive because one little girl was alive in a new way. Marcus stood beside Nora, both of them watching. You see what you did? He asked. No, Nora said softly. I see what she's doing. Marcus shook his head. You did this, don't downplay it. Nora breathed in deeply, the scent of sun-warmed pavement mixing with the sweetness of freshly cut grass. It's nice to help someone. Marcus looked at her, something gentle flickering in his eyes. This wasn't just help. This was... A loud honk shattered the moment. A pickup truck had stopped too close to the curb, the driver leaning halfway out of his window. Hey, move the kid. She's blocking my way. Anna shrank back. Marcus stiffened instantly. Watch how you speak. The man scoffed. I'm in a hurry, all right? But it was Nora who stepped forward. Her voice was steady, controlled, sharp as a blade wrapped in calm. You can wait, the man sneered. Who are you? Nora held his gaze without blinking. Someone who's not afraid of you, a few neighbors murmured. The man looked around and suddenly the entire street felt like it had shifted behind Nora. Like she had the quiet weight of the whole community standing with her. He huffed, embarrassed. Whatever, he muttered. Driving off too fast, Marcus exhaled, tension draining from his shoulders. You handled that. Nora shrugged. People like him don't scare me. They scare her, Marcus said softly. Nora looked at Anna, small hands gripping her armrests, eyes wide, but within seconds, the girl's confidence returned, bright and unshaken. She looked at Nora and whispered, You protect me. Nora's voice softened. Always. Marcus turned toward her. You protect her, even when I'm not fast enough. I just act, Nora replied. It's instinct. It's something else too, Marcus said. Something rare. She didn't know what to do with those words, not yet. But as Anna spun her chair in the sunlight, a purple streak of pure joy, Nora felt something shift inside her once again. Something steady. Something hopeful. Something that scared her almost as much as it thrilled her. Anna didn't want to go home. She said it plainly. Honestly. The way only children can. Daddy, can we stay longer? Please. I don't want to leave Miss Nora. Marcus truly tried to stay firm. He checked his watch, reminded her about therapy, lunch, rest time. But each attempt melted the moment Anna rolled herself back toward Nora's garage door, where the purple sunlight shimmered across her wheelchair like a halo. Nora leaned against the garage frame, wiping her hands on her apron as she watched the debate unfold. "Sweetheart," Marcus said, crouching beside Anna, "you've got a busy day." "But I'm fast here," Anna argued. "And Miss Nora is here. And the purple looks better here, and I want to show her my tricks." Marcus inhaled, exhaled, and dropped his head slightly as though asking the heavens for strength. Nora hid a smile. "I can show you a few more tricks," she said gently, stepping closer. 5 minutes, but then you've got to go with your dad. Deal?" Anna gasped. "Only 5? 5, Nora repeated. Anna considered this with dramatic seriousness, then nodded. "Okay, but only because you said it." Marcus shook his head with a quiet laugh. "She negotiates like a grown woman." "She negotiates like a Johnson," Nora corrected, raising an eyebrow. He looked up at her sharply with surprise, then with something else, something warm, but neither spoke it aloud. Anna squealed as Nora rolled the chair onto the smoother patch of sidewalk. She showed her how to turn tighter, how to shift weight for smoother rolling, how to stop quickly without jolt. Nora caught Marcus watching her, not Anna, her with a gaze that felt too steady, too searching. She looked away quickly, after the promised 5 minutes, which became 8 after Anna's charm worked its magic. Marcus finally gathered his daughter. "Say goodbye," he told her. Anna hugged Nora fiercely, tiny arms wrapping around her neck. "I'll come back tomorrow?" "You better," Nora said, voice lower than she intended. Anna beamed and waved from the SUV window until the car turned the corner and disappeared. The street fell quiet. For a moment, there was only sunlight, dust motes, and the soft hum of the garage behind her. Then Eli emerged from inside, arms crossed, leaning against the frame with a smirk. "You're doomed," he said. Nora groaned. "Not you again." "Oh, absolutely me. You think I'm gonna miss this?" She rolled her eyes. "There is no this." "Sure," Eli muttered. "And I don't eat tacos on Tuesdays." Nora swatted his arm. "Drop it." He grinned but didn't push further. Instead, he picked up a crate of leftover bolts and carried them toward the back. "You gonna pretend you don't light up every time that man looks at you?" "I don't light up," Nora snapped. "Okay," Eli said, disappearing into the storage room. "You flicker softly, like a candle, a romantic candle." "Shut up," she shouted after him. His laughter echoed through the shop, but when the shop fell quiet again, Nora leaned against the counter and let out a long breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Because she hadn't lied. There was something there, something she wasn't ready for. Something dangerous. Something that scared her more than Carl, more than bills, more than losing the shop. Connection. She hadn't let anyone close in years. Not since her father died. Not since she felt like she'd been holding the whole world together with her bare hands and duct tape. Letting someone in felt like loosening her grip on that duct tape. And yet, Marcus had looked at her today with a softness that had nothing to do with gratitude. Nothing to do with parent to mechanic politeness. It was human, unarmored, curious, and she'd felt something tug in her chest in response. No, not now, not smart. She forced herself to move, to pick up a toolbox, to scrub the already clean table, to do anything except think. She was grabbing a stack of microfiber cloths from the shelf when the garage bell jingled again. Her breath hitched. She turned, but it wasn't Anna. It wasn't Marcus. It was Carl, again, hands buried in his pockets, shoulders tense, eyes narrowed not with smugness this time, but with something sharper. "You think you're some kind of hero now?" he sneered. "Fixing things for billionaires, making the rest of us look bad?" Nora's stomach sank. "Not this again." "Carl," she muttered. "I'm not doing this with you today. You're making me look incompetent," he spat. "You did that yourself," Nora replied evenly. His nostrils flared. "People are talking. Let them. They're saying you're trying to win favor. That you want something from him." Nora stiffened. "I want nothing from him." Carl's lip curled into a smirk. "Sure, that why you're blushing every time he walks in." She took a step forward, steady, quiet. "Get out." Carl chuckled. Touchy. Now. He hesitated, then turned slowly like a man who thought silence was a weapon. At the door, he paused. Careful, Nora. Men like him, they don't stay. They take what they want and leave the rest of us to deal with the fallout. Nora's hands tightened into fists. Leave. Carl stepped out. This time, he didn't slam the door. He didn't need to. The words lingered like smoke after a cheap firework. Eli stepped back into the front room. He had heard every word. You want me to go fight that idiot? He asked. No. You want me to go annoy him until he trips over a sidewalk crack? No. You want me to breathe loudly in his general direction? She almost smiled. No. Eli's face softened. You okay? She didn't answer for a long moment. He's wrong, she said finally. I'm not expecting anything. I don't want anything. Except maybe to help a kid? Eli asked. Yes, Nora whispered. Then that's enough. She didn't reply. Instead, she walked over to the purple wheelchair still parked in the sunlight, running her hand along the smooth frame. You okay? Eli repeated gently. Nora's voice cracked. Yeah, I'm fine. But inside her chest, something was shifting. A soft warning, a soft longing, a soft fear, all tangled together. She placed her palm on the shooting star decal Anna had chosen, its purple and gold shimmering under the light. One day at a time, she whispered to herself. One wheel at a time, one repair at a time, one moment at a time. Outside, the wind rustled through the oak trees, and deep in the quiet of her garage, Nora Carter felt the world tilt just a little, enough to know things were about to change again. The next day dawned warmer than usual. The kind of southern morning where the air wrapped around you like a soft blanket. Nora opened the garage early, letting the breeze wash over the concrete floor as she brewed a cup of bitter black coffee. She took a slow sip, failing to shake off the restless feeling from last night. Sleep hadn't come easily. Too many thoughts had followed her into bed. Anna's laughter, Marcus's steady gaze, Carl's sharp warning that echoed louder than she wanted to admit. She wasn't scared of Carl, not really. She dealt with louder bullies, angrier customers, harder punches from life. But the part he'd gotten under her skin about the part he'd guessed without even meaning to, that part frightened her. She was letting people in again. And that had never ended well. She shook her head sharply, as if physically trying to knock loose the thoughts. Today wasn't about fears. Today was about Anna. And Anna always brought light with her. By the time Nora finished straightening up the shop, Eli arrived with a bag of egg biscuits and a conspiratorial grin. You look awful, he announced. Thanks, Nora muttered. You're welcome. Coffee? I have coffee. Great. More for me. He took a long drink from his thermos, then leaned against the workbench. Has the handsome billionaire texted you again? Nora groaned. For the last time. He is not. The bell over the door chimed. She froze. Eli smirked. Let me guess. But the person who walked through wasn't Marcus. It wasn't Anna. It was Renee. She looked flustered. Breathless. Her hair slightly wind-tossed as though she'd rushed straight from the car. And in her hands tightly clutched against her chest was Anna's purple backpack. Miss Nora, she said, voice wavering. We need your help. Nora's stomach flipped. Where's Anna? In the car, Renee said quickly. She doesn't want to walk in. She's embarrassed. Nora's heart lurched. Embarrassed? Why? Did something happen? Renee took a shaky breath. We had a checkup this morning. Some routine adjustments at her physical therapy clinic. The doctor, he made comments. What comments? Nora demanded. That her new chair wasn't medically approved. That it didn't come from a certified vendor. That Marcus shouldn't trust a local mechanic over formal specialists. Nora's jaw tightened. Her chair is safer than anything they've ever... I know, Renee cut in. I know, Nora. But Anna heard every word. And when they examined her wheelchair, a nurse made a joke. Something about homemade wheels. Anna hasn't talked since. The room went still. Eli whispered. Those idiots. But Nora didn't speak. She felt heat rising slowly from her chest to her throat, not anger, but something deeper, something protective, something bone deep. Where's Marcus? Nora asked quietly. In the car with her, Renee said. He didn't want to force her to come in. But she asked for you. Only you. Nora didn't grab her jacket, didn't grab her coffee, didn't grab her tools. She just moved. Fast. Barely a heartbeat later, she stepped outside into the bright sunlight. The black SUV idled near the curb. Through the open back door, she saw Anna curled in her seat, pressing her small hands to her eyes. Nora's stomach twisted. She rushed forward. "Hey, sweetheart," she called softly. "It's me." Anna didn't look up. Her shoulders trembled. Marcus turned, relief and frustration shadowing his face. "She won't talk to me. She keeps saying she doesn't want to be seen." Nora knelt beside the open door, lowering herself until she was eye level with Anna's sneakers. "Sweetheart," she whispered, "can you tell me what happened?" Anna's voice came out small, cracked. They made fun of my chair." Nora's breath shuddered. "They laughed," Anna whispered. "They said it was fake. They said it wasn't a real chair. They said it looked like a toy. They said Daddy bought me a silly one." Nora felt something inside her snap, not violently, but with razor clarity. She reached up and gently took Anna's hand. "Look at me. Lightning bolt." Anna shook her head, tears slipping through her fingers. Nora's voice went soft, low, fierce. "Your chair is not fake. It's not a toy. It's strong. It's fast. It's yours." Anna sniffed. "But they laughed." "I know," Nora said, "and they were wrong." Anna finally looked at her, eyes swollen, heart hurting. Nora leaned in closer. "Do you know how many hours I spent making that chair for you?" Anna hesitated. "A lot." "A million," Nora whispered. "A million careful hours. Every screw, every wire, every purple sparkle. I built it piece by piece so you could move the way you were meant to move. So you could chase sunshine and go fast and feel brave." Anna swallowed hard. "And do you know something else?" Nora whispered. "People laugh at things they don't understand. But just because they don't understand doesn't mean your chair is wrong." Anna stared at her, breath trembling. "Your chair isn't a toy," Nora said. "It's a miracle on wheels, and it's yours. No one else gets to decide what makes you powerful." A long silence stretched between them. Then Anna flung herself into Nora's arms. Nora held her tightly, wrapping both arms around her small frame, grounding her, steadying her. Marcus watched them with something like heartbreak and something like gratitude so deep it seemed to anchor him to the pavement. Renee wiped her eyes behind him. After a moment, Anna pulled back just enough to whisper, "Miss Nora, can you fix it?" Nora brushed a curl from Anna's cheek. "It's not broken, sweetheart." Anna blinked. "Then what are we doing?" Nora smiled gently. "We're going inside. And we're making your chair even stronger. So the next time someone laughs, you'll go so fast they won't even see you." Anna breathed a tiny laugh. "Can we put another sticker on it?" Nora nodded. "We can put 10. Anna finally smiled. Marcus spoke softly. "Nora, I don't know how." "You don't have to," she said, standing. "Let's just help her feel proud again." Anna wiped her face. "Miss Nora, will you hold my hand?" "Always," Nora said, and she did, guiding Anna out of the SUV and into the garage, where the purple chair waited in a sunbeam like it knew she was coming. Inside the garage, it was quiet enough to hear the faint hum of the overhead lights. Dust floated lazily in golden strips of sunlight, settling on toolboxes, metal shelves, and the concrete floor that had witnessed decades of Carter family repairs. But today, the quiet didn't feel ordinary. It felt fragile, as if the wrong word might shatter the moment. Nora walked beside Anna, their hands linked. Anna's grip was soft but certain. The kind a child gives someone she trusts more than the world. Marcus followed a few steps behind, his expression tight with worry, guilt, and something else Nora tried not to look at directly. Renee quietly closed the garage door behind them, giving Anna a cocoon from the outside world. Eli, sensing the heaviness, didn't greet them with a joke. He simply nodded at Anna and stepped aside, clearing the workspace without being asked. The purple chair sat in the middle of the shop like a patient waiting for comfort. The shooting star decal glimmered in the sunlight, bright, defiant, proud. Anna stopped walking. Her fingers tightened around Nora's hand. "What if it really is wrong?" she whispered. Nora knelt beside her, lowering herself until they were eye level. "Sweetheart," she said softly. "Look at me." Anna looked up through wet lashes. "That chair is strong," Nora continued. "Stronger than anything those doctors showed you today. Stronger than they even know. But more important than that?" She placed a hand on Anna's chest, lightly, gently. "It was built for you. For the way you move. For the way you ride. It fits your courage, your joy, your speed. No machine on earth knows you better than this one." Anna blinked. "They said I should get a new one." "I know," Nora said softly. "And they're wrong." "Why?" Anna whispered. "Because they don't understand what makes something right," Nora said. "They only understand rules. And rules aren't magic. But this," she tapped the purple frame, "this is." Anna sniffled. "It really is?" "It really is." Marcus stepped closer, clearing his throat. "Anna, honey, Miss Nora isn't just saying that. I saw how those people treated you today. And they were wrong. Not your chair. Not you." Anna looked between them, small shoulders trembling. But what if people keep laughing?" Nora took both of Anna's hands now. "Then we make this chair so beautiful, so fast, so perfect, that when they laugh," she leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper, "you'll roll past them before their brains catch up." Anna's lips twitched. "And then," Nora added, "they won't be laughing, they'll be staring." Anna giggled through her tears, a tiny spark returning to her eyes. Renee exhaled, relieved. Marcus pressed a hand to his chest as if it physically ached to watch his daughter crumble and rebuild so quickly. "Okay," Anna breathed. "But can we make it even more purple?" Nora smiled. "We can make it the purplest chair this town has ever seen." "Anna lit up." Eli grinned from across the room. "I second that vote." Nora ruffled Anna's curls gently. "So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give your chair a tune-up. Not because it needs fixing, because sometimes even strong things need to be reminded of how strong they are. And you'll help me." Anna inhaled sharply. "I can help? You're my assistant today." "I am?" Anna gasped. "You are." Marcus let out a quiet sigh that almost sounded like gratitude breaking through fear. "Thank you," he murmured to Nora. She didn't answer. She didn't need to, not when Anna had already wheeled herself toward the purple chair with renewed determination. Nora helped her transfer into a stool placed beside the workstation, then handed her a small cloth. "Your first job? Shine the purple. Make it sparkle again." Anna nodded seriously and began wiping the frame with tiny, careful strokes, brushing away fingerprints, polishing every little curve as if it were treasure. "It was," Renee whispered to Marcus. "She's bouncing back." "She is," Marcus whispered back. Because of Nora. Nora grabbed a screwdriver and loosened a few bolts, not because anything was wrong, but because she wanted Anna to see her working. To see the chair receiving love instead of mockery. She swapped and upgraded washers she'd been saving for bigger builds. Adjusted tension. Smoothed every edge. And with each twist of the wrist, each careful motion, she felt the weight inside her slowly ease. Anna looked up suddenly. "Miss Nora?" "Yeah?" "If someone laughs again, what do I do?" Nora set down the screwdriver and crouched beside her. "You listen to the chair." Anna blinked. "The chair?" Nora tapped the frame. "It'll tell you the truth." What truth?" "That you're strong," Nora whispered. "That you're brave. That you can go anywhere you want. That people's laughter doesn't change who you are." Anna swallowed. "But what if I get scared again?" Nora gently placed Anna's hand on the frame. "Then come find me. I'll fix whatever needs fixing." A soft silence settled over the room. It was Marcus who broke it quietly, carefully. "Nora, can I talk to you for a moment?" Nora stood, wiping her palms on her apron. "Sure." He stepped aside toward the corner of the garage. When she joined him, he spoke in a low voice. "She told me she thought she disappointed me today. That her chair embarrassed me." He paused, exhaling hard. "It broke me, Nora, hearing that." Nora's chest ached. "Marcus." He looked up. eyes rimmed with exhaustion and emotion. I don't know how to protect her from people like that. I try. God, I try. But no matter what I do, something still hurts her. That's not your fault, Nora said softly. Isn't it? His voice cracked. I'm her father, and you're human, Nora said gently. You can't stop the world from being cruel sometimes. But you can give her a safe place to come home to. You can show her how to stand again after people knock her down. She nodded toward the girl, polishing her chair with fierce determination. And you do. Marcus swallowed hard. You're helping me do it. Nora felt heat rise in her cheeks, not romantic, not dramatic, but warm, real. I'm just doing what I can. No, Marcus said quietly. You're doing more. He held her gaze, and Nora's breath caught not because of attraction, though it buzzed quietly beneath the surface, but because she saw something raw in his eyes. Trust, gratitude, fear, hope, all tangled together. Before she could respond, Anna called out, Miss Nora, I'm done making it sparkle. What's next? Nora smiled. Next is stickers. Anna gasped loudly. The best part. Eli clapped his hands. Stickers it is. The rest of the morning filled with laughter, small, warm, healing laughter that washed over the garage like music. Anna chose a sheet of purple star decals, placing them with meticulous care. Nora applied them where Anna pointed, one by one, until the chair looked like a comet ready to race through sky. When they finished, Anna ran her hand along the frame, pride glowing across her face. It's the bravest chair in the whole world. Yes, Nora whispered. It is. Renee dabbed her eyes again. Marcus stepped back, inhaling deeply, as though he could finally breathe, and Nora Carter, mechanic, daughter, fighter, healer, stood quietly beside them, feeling something unfamiliar bloom in her chest. Belonging. By mid-afternoon, the garage felt warmer than usual, not from the sun, but from the soft, steady glow of something invisible filling the air. Laughter, relief, healing. It clung to the walls like a memory refusing to fade. Anna rolled back and forth in her newly decorated chair, purple frame shimmering, star decals catching glimmers of light every time she moved. She looked like a tiny comet blazing across the concrete floor. Each turn was smooth. Each stop was clean. Each motion whispered confidence. Nora leaned against her father's old workbench, arms crossed, watching with a lightness in her chest she didn't recognize. Eli sat on a stool nearby, eating a cookie Renee had brought. Marcus stood with one hand in his pocket, the other resting absently on the back of Anna's chair whenever she came close, as though making sure he stayed tethered to her joy. It was peaceful, until the peace shattered. It started with a single, sharp buzz from Marcus's phone. He hesitated before checking it, as if bracing for something. Nora saw the small shift in his expression, the tightening of his jaw, the way his shoulders stiffened. Anna didn't notice. She was too busy admiring her stickers. What is it? Renee whispered discreetly, stepping closer. Marcus didn't answer right away. Another buzz, then another. He finally looked at them. His mouth tightened into a line. What's wrong? Nora asked quietly. Marcus inhaled deeply. There's a news post going around. About this morning. Nora's brows furrowed. What kind of post? A photo, Marcus said, of Anna, at the clinic, crying. Someone took it and shared it online. The garage went still. Renee's face drained of color. They what? Eli cursed under his breath. Who would do that to a kid? Marcus looked at Nora, eyes shadowed with anger and exhaustion. The post says her homemade wheelchair was endangering her. That I'm being irresponsible. That she's being put at risk. Nora felt a cold wave rush through her chest. That's not true. It's lies. I know, Marcus said softly. But truth doesn't always win on the internet. The words struck her like a hammer. Anna noticed the silence and stopped rolling. Daddy? Marcus forced a smile. It's nothing, sweetheart. Are you mad? She asked. No, he said quickly. Not at you. Nora stepped forward. Let me see the post. Marcus hesitated, then handed her his phone. The image on the screen hit Nora like a punch. Anna, small, frightened, crying, curled into herself in the clinic's hallway. The caption was worse. Billionaire father lets child suffer with unsafe DIY wheelchair. Community concerned. Dozens of comments were already piling underneath. Some curious, some cruel, some ignorant. A few supportive, but drowned out by the noise. Nora's hands tightened around the phone until her knuckles turned white. "They're blaming her," she whispered. "No," Marcus corrected quietly. "They're blaming you." Eli stood abruptly, eyes blazing. "This is garbage. We should call them out. Sue them. Expose whoever posted it." "We don't know who took it," Marcus said. "The account is anonymous, private. But the post is being reshared." Renee clasped her chest. Poor Anna. Anna looked between the adults, eyes widening. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," Nora said instantly, kneeling so she was eye level. "You did nothing wrong, but people are mad," Anna said softly. "Because of my chair?" Nora shook her head firmly. "They're wrong," Anna swallowed. "Are they laughing at me again?" The question cracked something inside Nora so sharply she felt it physically. "No," Nora whispered, reaching out to cup her cheek. "Listen to me. They're not laughing because of you. They're talking because they don't understand. That's all." Anna's lip trembled. "I don't like when people talk about me." "I know, sweetheart." Anna sniffed. Can you make them stop?" Nora exhaled shakily. "I wish I could." Marcus stepped forward. "Anna, honey, come here." He picked her up gently, folding her into his arms. Anna rested her head against his shoulder. For a moment, the only sound in the garage was her small, trembling breath. Nora stood slowly. "What do you want to do?" Marcus took a long breath. "First, get her home. She's exhausted." Renee nodded, already grabbing Anna's backpack. "But before that," Marcus turned to Nora, voice quieter but heavier. "Nora, you need to know something." She tensed. "What?" "This isn't just gossip," he said. "People will ask questions. Reporters might reach out. Medical professionals might demand inspections. And there's a risk the clinic could file a complaint." Nora's blood ran cold. "They can't do that. I built that chair to be safer than anything." "It doesn't matter," Marcus said gently. "If someone wants to cause trouble, they will." Nora braced her hands against the workbench, steadying herself. Eli crossed his arms, jaw clenched. "So what? She stops helping kids because someone online is an idiot?" "No one said she should stop," Marcus replied. "But she needs to be prepared." Nora forced herself to breathe. "What are you saying?" Marcus stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I'm saying that I'll handle the noise. I'll handle the clinic. I'll handle the media. You don't have to fight alone." Her throat tightened. "I never asked you to do that. You didn't have to," he said. "You fixed her heart. The least I can do is protect yours." The words stunned her into stillness. No one had said anything like that to her since her father died. Anna shifted in his arms, lifting her head slightly. "Miss Nora?" she whispered. Nora stepped closer. "Yeah, sweetheart? Can I come back tomorrow?" She swallowed hard. "Tomorrow. And the next day." Anna's small smile flickered. "Okay." Marcus carried her toward the door. Renee followed close behind. Before stepping outside, Marcus paused, turning back to Nora. "Don't let this break you," he said softly. "You don't deserve that." Then they left. The door closed. Silence settled heavy as lead. Eli exhaled and walked up beside Nora. "You okay?" She didn't answer. She just stared at the empty doorway. Her pulse thundering, her mind racing. Her heart twisting in directions she wasn't prepared for. Because today, she hadn't just fixed a chair. She'd stepped into something bigger. Something dangerous. Something she wasn't ready to admit mattered to her as deeply as it did. Nora whispered to herself, barely audible, "Don't break. Not now." But she wasn't sure if she was talking about the situation or her own heart. The garage felt different that evening, too quiet, too still, as if even the shadows were holding their breath. Nora locked the front door, turned off the overhead lights, and stood in the dim glow of the small desk lamp near the workbench. Anna's laughter still lingered in the air, but so did something darker, something heavy. The weight of the post, the weight of strangers talking, the weight of fear creeping up her spine the way it used to, years ago, when life punched her harder than she knew how to stand. Eli sat on a stool nearby, elbows on his knees, studying her. "You're doing the thinking thing," he said. Nora kept her eyes on the floor. "I'm always thinking." "No, this is the thinking that comes with doom music." She didn't respond. He leaned forward, softer. "What's going on in your head?" Nora rubbed her palms on her jeans. "I shouldn't have gotten involved." Eli blinked. "Whoa. No. Don't do that. That's Carl brain talking." "Carl wasn't wrong," Nora said quietly. "This is messy, dangerous. People are twisting things. And Marcus, he's dealing with fallout because of me." "Stop," Eli snapped, not harshly, but firmly. "Look at what you've done. Anna is moving better, smiling more, trusting again. You changed her life. And now she's being dragged online for it. That is not your fault," Eli said sharply. Nora pressed her lips together, shoulders tightening. "People will blame me anyway." Eli stood, pacing. "So what? Let them talk. Since when do you care about what rumor mill morons say?" "I care when a child is involved," she whispered. He softened. "Nor, I know. But you didn't hurt her. You helped her." She didn't reply. Instead, she walked to Anna's purple chair, now parked near the rear wall. She ran a hand along the frame, tracing the shooting star decal. It shimmered under the small lamp, looking oddly brave in the dim room. "I gave her hope," Nora said quietly. "But what if I just painted a target on her back instead?" "You didn't. But what if I did?" Her voice cracked. "I can fix machines, Eli. I can't fix people's cruelty." He stepped up beside her. "Nora, we've lived in this town our whole damn lives. People talk. They always talk. But they also shut up fast when the truth comes out." She exhaled shakily. "And if the truth doesn't come out?" He didn't hesitate. "Then we shout it louder." A soft knock sounded at the front door. Nora stiffened. Eli turned sharply, stepping ahead of her instinctively. Another knock, gentle, steady. Eli peeked through the window. His posture relaxed. "It's him." Nora froze. "Marcus. Why was he back?" She unlocked the door, opening it cautiously. Marcus stood under the yellow glow of the street lamp, hands in his pockets, his dress shirt sleeves rolled up. He looked tired, more tired than she'd ever seen him, but beneath the exhaustion was something else. "Resolve." "Nora," he said softly. "Can I come in?" She nodded wordlessly. He stepped inside, glancing around the dim garage. "I didn't mean to interrupt anything." "You're not," Nora said quickly. Eli gave Marcus a nod, then slipped into the back, giving them space. Marcus approached the purple wheelchair, touching the handle lightly. She cried the whole ride home. Nora's chest tightened. "I'm sorry. It wasn't your fault," he said firmly. "She wasn't crying because of you. She was crying because she thought she hurt you." Nora blinked. "May?" Marcus nodded. She said, "What if Miss Nora is sad because people are mean about my chair?" Nora felt her throat close. "I told her you're strong," Marcus continued. "Stronger than almost anyone I know." "That's not true," Nora whispered. "It is," he said, stepping closer. Nora swallowed hard. "Marcus, this is getting messy. You don't have to protect me." "Yes," he said quietly. "I do." Nora shook her head. "I can handle myself." "I know you can," Marcus replied, "but you shouldn't have to handle everything alone." Her breath hitched. No one had said that to her in years. Not since her father died. Not since she decided it was safer to be a wall than a wound. "I don't want you getting pulled into trouble because of me," she said. Marcus stepped closer, close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes, but also the conviction burning behind it. "Nora," he said softly, "you stepped into trouble for my daughter. Let me step into it with you." She didn't move, didn't breathe. The room felt small, suddenly too small, filled with the sound of her heartbeat pounding in her ears. Marcus continued, voice low but unwavering. "I don't know what this is yet. Between us. But I know you're important. To Anna. And..." He hesitated, then said it anyway. "And to me." Nora felt heat crawl up her neck. "Marcus," he raised a hand, not touching her, just hovering near her arm as if waiting for permission. You don't have to be afraid of this. She let out a shaky breath. I'm not afraid of you, but you're afraid of letting someone in, he said gently. Her eyes darted away. I can't afford to fall apart again. You're not falling apart, he said. You're opening up. She shook her head. I don't know how to do that. You already are. Silence. Then Nora whispered the truth she'd been trying to bury since yesterday. If people come after me, I can take it. But if people come after Anna because of something I made, I don't know if I could live with that. Marcus's expression softened into something devastating. Nora, she's stronger now because of what you made. Not weaker. She blinked hard, fighting the tightness in her chest. And I will protect her, he said. From the clinic, from reports, from the internet, from anyone. He took a slow breath. But I can't protect her from losing you. Nora's heart stuttered. You're part of her world now, he said. And whether you want to or not, you're part of mine. The garage buzzed with quiet electricity, warm, unsettling, hopeful. Nora finally whispered, I don't want to disappear from her life. Then don't, Marcus said. Another beat of silence. Nora's voice shook. What do we do now? Marcus glanced at the chair. First, we clean up the mess, together. And after that, he met her gaze with quiet certainty. After that, we see where this goes. Her breath caught. The world felt unsteady, but for the first time, not in a frightening way. Eli peeked around the corner and whispered loudly, Are you two done being dramatic? Or should I leave for another 20 minutes? Nora snapped, Ellie. But Marcus laughed for the first time all day, soft, warm, real. And somehow, in that moment, the fear didn't feel quite so heavy anymore. Morning sunlight filtered through the garage windows in soft gold ribbons, touching the concrete floor, the shiny tools, the purple wheelchair shimmering quietly near the center of the room. For once, Nora stood there without rushing to fix something, without worrying about the next repair or the next bill or the next problem. Today wasn't about problems. Today was about clarity, about truth, about everything that had been building up, quietly and loudly, in her shop these last few days. Eli leaned against the workbench, munching on a granola bar like nothing monumental was about to happen. You nervous? No, Nora replied. You're lying. Yes, she muttered. Before Eli could tease her further, the bell above the garage door chimed gently. She didn't need to turn. She knew the sound too well now. Miss Nora. Anna rolled in first, confident, bright, wearing a purple t-shirt that matched her wheelchair so perfectly it seemed intentional. Behind her came Renee, then Marcus, holding a tablet under his arm and wearing a look Nora had learned to read. Tired, but steady. Heavy with responsibility, but lightened by hope. Morning, Marcus said softly. Nora nodded. Morning. Anna zipped toward her, the purple chair moving like silk. Look, I'm faster today. You sure are, Nora said, crouching to hug her. How are you feeling? Good, Anna declared, spreading her arms wide. Daddy said the bad people's words are disappearing. That's right, Marcus added. And we're making sure no one posts about her again. Nora exhaled in relief. Thank you. Marcus stepped closer. I told you I'm handling it. And he had. In the hours after he'd left her garage last night, he'd used every connection at his disposal. Lawyers were already contacting the clinic. The anonymous account had been flagged for privacy violations and would likely be taken down. An official statement had been drafted to protect Anna from further exposure. He had done everything he promised. And today, for the first time since the chaos began, Nora felt the weight lift off her shoulders. But there was still something she needed to do. Nora? Anna asked sweetly from her chair. Can we go to the park today? I want to show the ducks my new stars. Nora smoothed a curl from Anna's forehead. We can, but first, I need to show you something. Anna's eyes widened. Is it stickers? No. Purple paint? No. Engine upgrades? Nora blinked. Maybe later. Anna gigglet. Ellie snorted. She's learning your language. Nora shot him a look, then turned back to Anna. It's something for you, and your dad. Anna gasped. A surprise? A big one. She walked to the back of the garage and grabbed two items she'd been working on late into the night. The first was small, a polished silver charm shaped like a star, designed to fit perfectly on Anna's chair armrest cap. The second was a folder. She returned to them and kneeled in front of Anna. "This," Nora said, placing the charm in Anna's hand, "is your reminder." Anna examined the tiny star with wonder. "It's beautiful." "It's for you," Nora said softly, "so you always remember that you shine brighter than anything they say." Anna's eyes softened. "Miss Nora, thank you." Then Nora stood and handed the folder to Marcus. He frowned. "What is this?" "A full-spec build report," Nora said. "Engineering details, safety tests, motor calibration, weight distribution, endurance check, every part I used, every procedure, every measurement." She hesitated, then added softly, "Just in case anyone ever questions her chair again." Marcus slowly opened the folder. Nora swallowed hard. "I stayed up all night making it clean and official. If people want proof, I gave them more than proof. I gave them everything." He scanned the first page, then the second, then the next. His breath hitched. "Nora," his voice was low, raw. This is professional grade. It had to be," she whispered. For her, Marcus lifted his gaze slowly, and his eyes weren't tired anymore. They were full of respect, full of emotion, full of something warm that almost made her step back. "Nora Carter," he said quietly. "I've hired engineers, specialists, technicians, and none of them would have done this." He held up the packet. "You didn't just defend your work, you defended my daughter." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Marcus took a slow step toward her. "Do you understand what that means?" Her pulse kicked painfully. He took another step. "You stood between her and the world." Nora shook her head softly. "I just did what felt right. And that," Marcus said, "is why it means everything." The room went silent. Evanali didn't move. Anna, oblivious to adult tension, rolled closer and tugged Nora's sleeve. "Miss Nora?" Nora crouched instantly. "Yeah, lightning bolt?" Anna held the silver charm to her chest. "Does this mean you're gonna stay?" Nora blinked. "Stay?" "In my life," Anna said simply. "Are you gonna stay with us?" "Daddy says some people leave when things get scary." "Well," Nora's breath caught, hard. Marcus froze, eyes flickering with both fear and hope. Nora swallowed. She had never been good at this, speaking the things that hurt, the things that mattered. But Anna waited, and Marcus waited, and Eli, quiet as a ghost, waited. So Nora whispered the truth. "I'm not going anywhere." Anna smiled, the kind of smile that made the world tilt into place. Marcus exhaled, almost collapsing under the weight of it. His shoulders dropped, his posture eased, and something soft and relieved flickered in his eyes, a man unburdening himself in real time. Anna clapped. "Good, because you're my Miss Nora." Nora felt her chest constrict in the best way possible. Then, from behind her, Eli muttered, "Okay, great. But can we all emotionally collapse later?" "The ducks are waiting." Everyone laughed lightly, fully, beautifully. They spent the late afternoon at the park. Anna raced down the paved path, showing off her new stickers to every duck, squirrel, and child she encountered. Nora walked beside her, sometimes jogging to keep up, sometimes laughing so hard her stomach hurt. Renee took photos. Eli chased a goose that got too bold, and Marcus watched Nora more than he watched anything else. When Anna sped toward the playground, Renee followed, giving Nora and Marcus a quiet moment by the lake. Marcus spoke first, voice gentle. "You meant what you said?" Nora looked out over the water, wind brushing her hair. "Yeah, I did." "You're staying?" he asked. She nodded. "I don't want to walk away from her. From you. From all this." Marcus stepped closer, not touching, just close enough for her to feel the warmth of his presence. "You're not the only one staying," he said softly. Nora turned toward him. Marcus's voice dropped. "And when you're ready, however long that takes, I'm here." Her breath caught, not from surprise, but from relief, the kind she'd been starving for without realizing it. She didn't take his hand. She didn't need to, but she didn't step away either. And that was enough. At sunset, when Anna begged for one last ride, Nora ran beside her, laughing breathlessly as Anna shouted, "Look, Miss Nora, I'm flying." Nora grinned, heart full, voice cracking as she yelled back, "Yeah, sweetheart, you are." Ugh. And as the sky turned gold, the purple wheelchair shimmering like something out of a dream, Nora Carter realized she was flying too. For the first time in years, for the first time since her father left this world, she wasn't just fixing machines anymore. She was part of someone worth fighting for. And she wasn't afraid. Not anymore. Sometimes the world forgets what real strength looks like. It isn't loud, and it doesn't always wear a suit or carry a title. Sometimes strength lives in a small garage, in the steady hands of someone who chooses kindness even when no one is watching. Nora didn't set out to be a hero. She simply refused to turn away from a child who needed hope. And in doing so, she reminded us that compassion is not weakness, it is courage. True justice isn't always delivered in courtrooms or by powerful people. Sometimes, it arrives in the quiet form of a repaired wheel, a steady hand, or a promise kept. The story teaches us that when we choose to stand beside the vulnerable, we also begin to repair the broken places within ourselves. Kindness does more than change a life. It restores one.